Chapter 25:16. Yellow Spring Island was the core of this place. At this moment, two pontoon bridges appeared on the shore of Yellow Spring Island at almost the same time. They extended from a small island in the distance to here. Two figures were running wildly on the pontoons, heading toward Yellow Spring Island. One of them was the ancestral dragon, and the other was the other tribe's divine ancestor. The two of them had reached Yellow Spring Island at almost the same time. They were also the first to reach Yellow Spring Island. When the two of them reached Yellow Spring Island, they noticed each other, and their gazes met. "Ancestral dragon, you're quite fast." The other tribe's divine ancestor sneered. "You're not slow either," Ancestral dragon said. Both of them were emitting cold-killing intent. However, both of them were wary of each other and did not attack. At this moment, the two of them discovered a towering tree not far from them. This tree was incomparably huge, with a diameter of at least a few hundred meters. It towered into the clouds, and the entire tree, not only its trunk, but also its leaves were suffused with multicolored light. However, the most eye-catching thing was the fruits on the tree. There were a total of 18 fruits, and each of them was only the size of a fist. However, they immediately attracted the attention of the ancestral dragon and the other tribe's divine ancestor. "Fruits of life. It's the fruits of life," the other tribe's divine ancestor muttered, his eyes burning with passion. He had finally found the fruit of life. Wasn't his goal in entering Yellow Spring Realm for the fruits of life? With the fruits of life, his injuries would be healed. In fact, with enough fruits of life, divine ancestor Xueqi's injuries would also be healed. At that time, it would be easy for him to flatten the celestial realm. At the same time, the ancestral dragon's eyes glowed with passion. Whoosh, whoosh. Almost at the same time, the two of them pounced toward the fruits of life. The two of them reached out to grab the fruits of life at the same time. However, at this moment, the entire fruit of life glowed. Then, two roots emerged from the ground and whipped toward the ancestral dragon and the other tribe's divine ancestor. Bam, bam. The power of the roots was unbelievably strong. The hands of the ancestral dragon and the other tribe's divine ancestor were instantly crushed, and the two of them were sent flying. The expressions of the two changed, turning slightly stern. In the next moment, the two of them moved again. They unleashed their full strength and pounced toward the fruit of life. Crash! This time, the ground surged, and more than 10 roots appeared in an instant, whipping towards the two like a violent storm. Bang! Bang! The two of them continuously collided with the roots. Then, their bodies violently trembled and they retreated far away. At the same time they spat out blood. Both of them were actually injured. They were two martial gods, yet they were injured by the roots of the tree of life. If the people from the heavenly realm and the evil god realm saw this, they would be dumbstruck. Their gazes were somewhat gloomy. The ancestral dragon didn't seem to be affected by the situation, but the outsider sacred patriarch had an unsightly expression on his face. His desire for the fruits of life and death far exceeded that of the ancestral dragon. Damn it! The outsider's sacred ancestor roared in anger. He had gone through so much trouble to get here. Could it be that he couldn't get the fruit of life? Right at this moment, the space above the tree of life rippled as a figure appeared out of thin air. This was a middle-aged man wearing a white robe. He looked very refined. When this person was young, he must have been a refined young master. The holy ancestor and the ancestral dragon both looked at this person warily, because they couldn't see through this person's cultivation at all. This time, only the two of you have entered the martial god realm. The middle-aged man glanced at the ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor and murmured with a confused look. Currently, we're the only martial gods in the outside world. The sacred ancestor said. Only two martial gods? Strange, what's going on outside? Where is this place? The middle-aged man murmured, before looking at the ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor and said, "You're looking for the fruit of life, right? The fruit of life only ripens once every countless years. It's not ripe yet." "It's not ripe yet?" The ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor were startled. "That's right, it's not ripe yet. Therefore, if you try to pluck it, the tree of life will attack you. However, once it's ripe, as long as you don't harm the tree of life, it won't retaliate." The middle-aged man explained. "How long will it take for the fruit of life to ripen?" The sacred ancestor asked. "Soon, the fruit of life is about to ripen. As for how long it'll take, I can't say for sure. If it's fast, it might take a few years, or a few hundred years. You just have to wait a little longer, the middle-aged man said with a smile. Following this, he glanced into the distance and mumbled, "Will that kid be able to pass the trial? Let's hope so. After so many years, someone has finally mastered the Tao of Tao. At least there's some hope." Saying this, he turned around and disappeared from the place. The ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor exchanged glances with one another. Their eyes flickered with murderous intent. A few hundred years was nothing to them. They just had to wait a little longer. When the fruit of life ripened, they would surely have an intense battle to compete for it. The ancestral dragon, in particular, had the urge to kill the sacred ancestor right away. Once the sacred ancestor obtained more fruits of life, the heaven realm would be in great danger. But in the end, they were still not confident. The two of them did not rashly make a move. They sat at the side and waited. Time gradually passed. A few years later, a third person finally arrived at Yellow Spring Island. It was the heavenly lightning monarch from the heaven realm. A few months later, an undefeatable expert from the evil god tribe arrived as well. Following this, more people arrived at Yellow Spring Island. 10 years later, more than 100 people from each side arrived at Yellow Spring Island. Each of them had passed a different trial. It did not mean that those with lower cultivation would fail the trial. Therefore, there were differences in cultivation among the people from both sides. After arriving, they were warned by the ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor to stay away from the fruit of life. If anyone below the martial god realm was struck by the roots of the fruit of life, they would definitely die. The crowd waited patiently. Suddenly, a strong fragrance came from the fruit of life. This fragrance made people feel comfortable all over when they smelled it. All the pores on their bodies opened up. Some people who had hidden injuries quickly recovered. The fruit of life had ripened. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Whoosh, whoosh. The ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor reacted the fastest. They immediately dashed toward the fruit of life. This time, when they approached the fruit of life did not attack them. The fruit of life had indeed ripened. Ancestral dragon, die! The sacred ancestor suddenly yelled. He turned around and charged at the ancestral dragon. You're the one who's going to die. The ancestral dragon had the same thought as he charged at the sacred ancestor. Chapter 25:17. The two martial gods clashed fiercely. Neither of them could get close to the tree of life. Those below the martial god realm seized the opportunity and rushed toward the tree of life. There were more than 100 people on each side. How could 18 fruits of life be enough? Naturally, they fought fiercely. More than 100 people were fighting in a chaotic battle. Both sides were evenly matched. Soon some people died. The heavenly thunder sovereign was fighting a demigod from the evil god tribe. Ching Tsong, the titan longhorn beetle, and the others all had their own opponents. The area around the tree of life was boiling, and the chaotic energy was overflowing. Bang! Bang! The ancestral dragon and the other tribe's divine ancestor fought high up in the sky. They had already exchanged hundreds of blows. Both sides wanted the fruits of life, but they did not want the other side to get them. Naturally, they would fight with their lives on the line. Don't fight. Snatch the fruits. The other tribe's divine ancestor transmitted his voice to his subordinates. All of the evil god tribe members attacked the heavenly realm beings. Then, they seized the opportunity and rushed toward the fruits of life. Not good. Snatch the fruits of life. The heavenly realm beings also shouted and rushed toward the fruits of life. In an instant, each of the 18 fruits of life was targeted by more than 10 people. Everyone surrounded the fruits of life and started another round of chaotic battle. However, there were still fruits of life that were snatched away. The first fruit of life was snatched by the demigod from the evil god tribe. However, the heavenly thunder sovereign also obtained one. Both sides exchanged blows. In the blink of an eye, several fruits of life were snatched away. Whoosh! Suddenly, an ordinary-looking evil god tribe member emitted a shocking blood-red light. Then, a drop of blood flew out and turned into a human figure. His appearance could not be seen clearly. The blood all over his body wriggled and emitted a shocking killing intent. Kill! The blood-red figure rushed out. The blood-red light was like a sword as it charged toward the heavenly realm beings. Those beings with heavenly emperor cultivation were directly killed. Divine ancestor Xueqi. The ancestral dragon roared. Haha, although Xueqi has not recovered, he still has the strength of a demigod. Let's see how you guys block him. The other tribe's divine ancestor roared. Saint Ancestor Xueqi had the strength of a demigod and an almost immortal body. He was too strong. Other than the heavenly thunder sovereign, no one in the heaven domain was a match for him. Wherever he went, the living beings in the heaven domain would either die or be injured. Divine Ancestor Xueqi snatched several fruits of life. Soon, all 18 fruits of life were plucked. Saint Ancestor Xueqi cast his gaze towards the living beings of the heaven realm who had obtained the life fruits and charged towards them. Damn it! Don't even think about it. The ancestral dragon roared and turned into a huge true dragon. His body was covered in layers of flames and his aura was rising rapidly. Ancestral Dragon, are you crazy? Do you want to die? The sacred ancestor roared in shock. At worst, we'll just die together. Roaring, the dragon ancestor charged madly toward the outsider sacred ancestor. Boom! Boom! After a series of explosions, the sacred ancestor was knocked back, and his body trembled. Ancestral Dragon was going all out, burning his life essence to kill divine ancestor Xueqi and the other divine ancestor. Now that the outsiders had obtained more fruits of life, if they allowed them to recover, the consequences would be dire. They might as well take them down with them. Lunatic! The foreign race's divine ancestor bellowed, not daring to continue fighting. In a flash, he charged towards divine ancestor Xueqi. Divine ancestor Xueqi turned into a streak of bloodlight and disappeared into the foreign race's divine ancestor's body. Go! The alien race's sacred ancestor shouted and charged into the depths of Yellow Spring Island. Stay here! Ancestral Dragon roared, staring at the foreign race's divine ancestor as he charged madly. The two fought fiercely, clashing repeatedly. The foreign race's divine ancestor was injured, but he did not linger and focused on escaping. Now that the outsiders had obtained more fruits of life, there was no need for him to risk his life against Ancestral Dragon. As long as he recovered in the future, they would be the ones to succeed. Ancestral Dragon and the foreign race's divine ancestor charged into the depths of Yellow Spring Island. The other foreign races also charged toward the mountains and palaces on Yellow Spring Island. Yellow Spring Island was huge, and it stretched as far as the eye could see. There were countless mountains and palaces scattered around. Although the heavenly world beings chased with all their might, they were not stronger than the foreign race. Soon they lost track of the foreign race. Ancestral Dragon chased for a while, but he could not catch up to the foreign race's divine ancestor. The foreign race's divine ancestor had escaped, disappearing into the vast mountains. Ancestral Dragon's face was extremely ugly. He retreated and began to gather the heavenly world beings. He had just burned his life essence, and now, he was weak and his aura was weak. Soon, the heavenly world beings gathered. Senior Ancestral Dragon, you burned your life essence. Quickly swallow a fruit of life to stabilize your injuries. A heavenly world being walked out and gave him a fruit of life. Although the fruit of life was extremely precious and he could not bear to part with it, he understood that Ancestral Dragon was the key to the heavenly world. Without Ancestral Dragon, it would be useless no matter how many fruits of life he obtained. All right, I'll remember this fruit of life. I'll compensate you accordingly. Ancestral Dragon nodded. He did not stand on ceremony. He took the fruit of life, swallowed it, and began to refine it. A few days later, Ancestral Dragon's aura stabilized. As expected of the fruit of life, Ancestral Dragon exclaimed. The effects of the fruit of life were truly astonishing. Now, the energy of that fruit of life was far from being refined. However, because he had burned his life essence, he had stabilized it. In the future, as long as he continued to refine the fruit of life, his injuries would slowly recover. How many fruits of life did we get this time? Ancestral Dragon asked. Senior Ancestral Dragon, I'll have one. I'll have one too. Immediately, the heavenly world beings who had obtained the fruits of life walked out. There were a total of 6. Including the one that Ancestral Dragon had swallowed, there were a total of 7. Ancestral Dragon and the heavenly world beings had ugly expressions. In that case, the evil god tribe had obtained a total of 11 fruits of life. 11 is enough for Moke and Xueqi to recover. Ancestral Dragon whispered, his face exceptionally gloomy. Although Saint Ancestor Xueqi's injuries were serious and only had a strand of bloodline left, with so many fruits of life, he would definitely be able to recover. This would be a disaster for the heavenly world. Senior Ancestral Gragon, I'm willing to give this fruit of life to you. Me too. Those who had obtained the fruits of life handed them to Ancestral Gragon. They knew what was important and what was urgent. All right, I'll accept them all. First, I'll heal my injuries. If there are more, I'll give them to the other injured experts to help them recover. Also, if you need anything, just say the word. Ancestral Gragon said. At this time, he did not stand on ceremony. Moreover, the ancient war was exceptionally tragic. Not only was Ancestral Gragon injured, but there were also other experts. For example, peak heavenly emperors, such as the Titan Longhorn Beetle and 9 Lives Demonic Silkworm. But now their injuries had healed. Chapter 25:18. This Yellow Spring Island is filled with mountains and palaces. It might contain opportunities. Let's form a team and explore it. Then, Ancestral Gragon looked at the mountains and ordered the heavenly realm beings to form small teams and enter the vast mountains to explore and see if they could find any opportunities. As for Lu Ming, he was still on that island, comprehending the word battle. It had been 90 years since he came to this island. After so many years of comprehension, he had benefited a lot. The word battle was too exquisite. As Lu Ming comprehended it, his experience of combat had greatly deepened. Although he did not have any combat skills, Lu Ming's fighting spirit soared as soon as he attacked. His every move was filled with powerful combat strength. His previous battle skills and divine abilities were a lot more powerful when he executed them. The word battle was too wonderful. In other words, no matter what combat skills or divine powers Lu Ming cultivated in the future, their power would be strengthened. No matter what weapon he used, he would be able to wield it with ease and unleash its strongest power. This was battle. As long as it was related to combat, it would be improved. After comprehending the word battle for decades, Lu Ming's cultivation did not improve at all, but his combat strength was stronger. Now he was more confident. In the past, he did not have much confidence in facing an invincible demigod. Now he had the confidence to fight. Swoosh, swoosh, boom, boom. Under the cliff, Lu Ming's figure flashed and danced, displaying all kinds of divine powers. Under the support of the word battle, the power of these divine powers was increased by a lot. This cultivation lasted for 9 days and 9 nights. After 9 days and 9 nights, Lu Ming stopped. Phew! Lu Ming let out a long breath, his eyes bright. Awesome, really awesome! Lu Ming laughed. Crack! At this moment, a crack began to appear on the word battle. Then, more and more cracks appeared. Finally, with a bang, it exploded. It was exactly the same as the previous statue. Lu Ming had already thoroughly comprehended the word war. When the word battle cracked, the void flashed, and the man with the transparent wings reappeared. Not bad. To be able to fully comprehend the battle character formula within 100 years, his talent is not bad. The man with the transparent wings nodded, excitement flashing in the depths of his eyes. Senior, can I proceed to the next stage? Lu Ming said. The next stage? That's it. This is the last stage. The transparent winged man smiled. It's the last stage? Can I head to Yellow Spring Island now? Lu Ming was overjoyed. All right, I'll send you there. The translucent winged man nodded and waved his hand. A disc array flew out and floated above Lu Ming's head. The disc array shot out a pillar of light that enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt himself stepping into the teleportation array. In the next moment, his body disappeared. The void rotated. After a while, Lu Ming found himself in a spacious hall. Where is this? Is this Yellow Spring Island? Lu Ming was a little stunned. He originally thought that he would appear on the island. He did not expect to appear in a hall. Lu Ming sized up the surroundings. The main hall was empty except for a statue at the very top. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Wasn't this statue the one that he had been looking at previously? However, the statue here did not have the slightest hint of a ruler's will. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. At this moment, a shadow flashed in the void and a figure appeared. It was an elegant middle-aged man in a white robe. This middle-aged man was the one who appeared above the Tree of Life to warn ancestral Gragon and the others. Congratulations on passing all the stages and arriving here. The elegant middle-aged man smiled. Junior Lu Ming greets Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists. I'm Baiya. The middle-aged man smiled and said, Lu Ming, you've mastered the Tao of Ruler. Your talent is extremely rare, similar to my master's. Tao of Ruler, Senior. Is there really such a Tao between the heavens and earth? It's just a name I came up with. Lu Ming asked. You came up with it? Ha ha ha, that's a coincidence. That's right, the Tao of Ruler does exist. Those who practice the Tao of Ruler will be able to control the God force of the ruler realm once they rank up to the martial God realm. It's an extremely high-level God force. Baiya said. Martial God realm, God force of the ruler realm? Lu Ming was confused. That's something the martial God realm is related to. Your cultivation is still too weak, so you don't have to worry about it. Baiya said, most importantly, you've passed all the stages and arrived here. Besides, you've also practiced the Tao of Ruler, thus you can inherit my master's succession. Succession? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Let me tell you, my master is an extremely powerful existence with outstanding talents and an immeasurable cultivation. The entire Yellow Spring Mountain is my master's treasure. Baiya said. Lu Ming inhaled deeply. His heart was filled with great astonishment. The entire Yellow Spring Mountain was Baiya's master's treasure. Heavens! The size of the Yellow Spring Mountain was comparable to the total size of the 9 heavens of the heaven realm. It was boundless, with countless living beings, including martial gods. On top of that, Lu Ming had stumbled into a few experts on the Yellow Spring Island. The man with the transparent wings and the scholarly man before him were both immeasurable. Lu Ming suspected that they were both martial gods. Therefore, the master that Baiya mentioned was most likely stronger than the martial gods. Stronger than the martial gods? Did such a person really exist? Previously, Lu Ming had thought the martial gods were the strongest existences in the world, but it seemed like that was far from the truth. There were existences stronger than the martial gods. Legend had it that the Yellow Spring Mountain came from the outer world, thus there must be existences stronger than the martial gods. Lu Ming's heart was filled with anticipation. At his current level of cultivation, he was almost at the peak of his cultivation. The evil god tribe did not have many opponents in the entire heaven realm. Now that he knew there were existences stronger than the martial gods, Lu Ming had a higher goal. I can obtain the succession of such an existence? Having this thought, Lu Ming's heart burned passionately. My master's name is Jing Yu. This statue is my master. You must have seen my master's statue in many places before. That's because this treasure belongs to my master. Therefore, many places worship my master's statue. Baiya said. Lu Ming came to a realization. He finally understood why every cursed land had a statue. Unfortunately, my master is dead. He was killed by a traitor. Meanwhile, we in the Yellow Spring Mountain are sealed here. We will never be able to leave for generations. Chapter 25:19. Lu Ming felt a chill run down his spine when Baiya released a wisp of his aura. With his current cultivation, he was like an ant facing an elephant. He could not resist at all. Terrifying. Extremely terrifying. That was what Lu Ming felt. He had a feeling that if Baiya wanted to attack him, he could kill him with a flick of his finger. He did not feel that from the ancestral dragon or the divine ancestor. Lu Ming was even more shocked. An existence like Baiya was sealed here and could not leave for generations. Also, Baiya's master, Jing Yu, was definitely stronger, but he was killed. How strong was their enemy? Also, there were many cursed lands in Yellow Springs Mountain. Were they also set up by their enemy? Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. However, there is always a way out. Every 10,000 years, the seal of the Yellow Springs Mountain will loosen, and you people from the outside will be able to enter. We have been looking for a suitable candidate to inherit Master's legacy. Unfortunately, there are not many outsiders who come in each time, and very few of them are talented. We have waited for a long time, and finally, you are here. Baiya said. Senior, there must be a condition for me to inherit Senior Jing Yu's legacy, right? Lu Ming said. Baiya looked at Lu Ming with admiration. You are very smart. Not bad. There is indeed a condition. I can tell you this. Back then, Master was framed. He was wronged and died. Master's bloodline will be sealed here forever. Therefore, if you want to inherit Master's legacy, you must swear on your life essence that you will avenge Master in the future, clear his name, and save us from this place. As expected, Lu Ming knew it was not simple. Lu Ming said with a wry smile, "Senior, with your cultivation and Senior Jingyu's cultivation, you are not a match for him. How can I do it?" "You can't do it now, but that doesn't mean you can't do it in the future. There is no time limit for this. With your talent, you may be able to surpass Master in the future. Although this is difficult, there is still some hope. I can tell you that what you have comprehended is only one of the billions of Master's legacy. If you can obtain Master's legacy, you will be able to avoid many detours in the future." Baiya began to tempt Lu Ming. Lu Ming's mind was also thinking rapidly. Baiya's master, Jingyu, was obviously a terrifying existence. His cultivation was beyond Lu Ming's imagination. Avenging such a person would definitely be very dangerous. However, Lu Ming immediately thought of the evil god tribe. If the foreign race's divine ancestor and divine ancestor Xueqi recovered, he wouldn't even be able to get past the evil god tribe. Everyone in the heaven world would die, including his family and friends. As for agreeing to White Fang's request to avenge Jingyu, that was something that would happen many years later. Furthermore, even if he failed, he would be the only one who would die. Moreover, if he could obtain Jingyu's legacy, he might have a way to fight against the evil god tribe. At the thought of this, Lu Ming made a decision. "All right, Senior, I agree," Lu Ming said. "Good." Baiya was overjoyed. "However, you still have to swear on your life origin." Swearing on life origin was different from a blood oath. Blood oaths could be resisted at the martial emperor realm. However, swearing on life origin was directly applied to one's life origin. Not to mention martial emperors, even martial gods would find it difficult to resist. If one went against the oath, they would suffer terrible punishment. Lu Ming immediately swore on life origin according to Bai Ya's request. "Senior, I still don't know who Senior Jingyu's enemy is," Lu Ming said. How could he take revenge if he didn't even know who his enemy was? "Do you know about the Taishu dynasty?" Baiya asked after pondering for a while. "Taishu dynasty? Never heard of it." Lu Ming shook his head. "Never heard of it? It's normal that you haven't heard of it. Those guys must have sealed us in a very remote place. You should have heard of the Wuji Galaxy, right?" Baiya said. "Wuji Galaxy?" Lu Ming was even more confused. "I haven't heard of the Wuji Galaxy. What about the primitive universe? You should have heard of it, right?" Baiya said. Lu Ming shook his head hard. "You haven't heard of the primitive universe?" Baiya was dumbfounded. He looked at Lu Ming and was tongue-tied. Lu Ming couldn't help but touch his nose. He really hadn't heard of it. Was it shameful to not have heard of it? Where did those guys seal us? I haven't even heard of the primitive universe. No wonder so few geniuses came in these years. Ruthless, those guys are really ruthless. They want us to never be able to rise again. Bai Ya's face was gloomy as he gritted his teeth. Lu Ming was very smart and didn't say a word. A while later, Baiya finally calmed down. "You don't know anything. Even if I tell you, you won't be able to explain it clearly. How about this? You can inherit master succession first." After White Fang finished speaking, a picture scroll appeared in his hand. After opening the picture scroll, a young man was drawn on the picture scroll. He was extraordinarily handsome and lifelike. It was Bai Ya's master, Jingyu. On top of that, the will of the ruler of Dao from the portrait was shockingly strong. It was many times stronger than any of the statues that Lu Ming had come into contact with. "Lu Ming, use your Dao of the ruler to resonate with master's portrait. You will be able to inherit master succession," Baiya said. Lu Ming nodded and immediately executed his Dao of the ruler. As he expected, as soon as he executed his Dao of the ruler, the scroll emitted a purple-golden glow. A moment later, the scroll turned into a ray of light and flew into Lu Ming's mind. At that instant, Lu Ming felt like he could see a young man with his hands behind him standing in his divine sense. His figure was emitting a brilliant purple-golden glow, which represented the will of the ruler of Dao. "Battle!" At that instant, the young man uttered a roar as the word battle flew out. The word battle was filled with an ancient aura, as if it had come from the river of time. It was as if it represented the origin of all battles between the heavens and earth. It was mystical and immeasurable. It was countless times more mystical than the word battle that Lu Ming had comprehended before. A moment later, the rare phenomena in Lu Ming's mind disappeared. Only two things were left in his divine sense: a scroll, an ancient word, battle. There was no other information, nor was there any martial art or secret art. Lu Ming was greatly disappointed. How was it? What did you get from Master Succession? Baya asked. There are only two things. One is a painting, and the other is the ancient word war. There is no other information. Lu Ming said in disappointment. I see, I understand now. Master has sealed everything in the scroll. It must be because your cultivation is too weak that you didn't get any information. Chapter 25-20. Lu Ming was really speechless. His cultivation was too low? One had to know that with his physical body and path of domination combined, he was confident that he could fight a demigod. Now, in the entire heaven realm, evil god realm, and the primordial realm, how many people were his match? But in White Fang's eyes, his cultivation was too low. Don't worry, as long as your cultivation breaks through in the future, the seal in the scroll will also be opened. Not only will there be Master's cultivation method, but there will also be some information about Master's enemies. White Fang said. Lu Ming nodded. Kid, you look very disappointed. You don't know how lucky you are. Do you know how envious I am? Do you know how mysterious the battle word you obtained is? How big of a background it has? That's the origin ancient word, the origin ancient word. Do you understand? If it was in the primitive universe, I'm afraid countless terrifying existences would fight over it. White Fang exclaimed, his eyes full of envy. The origin ancient word? Lu Ming continued to be confused. He realized that he could not understand what White Fang was saying. Forget it. You won't understand even if I say so much. Remember, when you travel in the primitive universe in the future, you must try not to expose the secret of the battle word. Otherwise, it will bring you a fatal disaster. Also, the battle word you comprehended before is only 1/1,000,000th of the origin ancient word. No, it's 1/1,000,000,000th of it. So, in the future you have to comprehend more of this battle word. The benefits it will bring you are unimaginable. This battle word was accidentally discovered by Master. He hasn't comprehended it yet. Others don't know about it at all. Otherwise, those guys would definitely not leave behind the inheritance of others. White Fang continued to blabber on and on. Lu Ming seemed to understand, but he could only remember it all in his heart. Also, this is for you. A storage ring appeared in White Fang's hand, and he threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it and was overjoyed. There should be some treasures in the storage ring. Lu Ming's spiritual sense probed inside. In the next moment, Lu Ming revealed a trace of disappointment. The things in the storage ring were very simple. There were only two things. There was a sword and a huge wooden chest. With a thought, the sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This weapon. Lu Ming sensed it and then injected his world energy into it. Immediately, he felt that this battle sword was like a bottomless pit. Moreover, there was a strong devouring power that crazily devoured the world energy in his body. Lu Ming was so scared that he quickly cut off his connection with the battle sword. How horrifying! Lu Ming felt that if this battle sword erupted, its might would be many times stronger than that of a heavenly Tao tool. This is a divine weapon, a weapon used by martial gods. With your current cultivation, you won't be able to control it. Its energy will be sucked dry. You should use it when you have a breakthrough in your cultivation. White Fang said. Divine artifact. Lu Ming's heart shuddered. He finally knew the name of the weapon used by martial gods. The reason being that the ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor of the non-human tribes had both used weapons of this level. Lu Ming was overjoyed. This weapon was priceless. Lu Ming put the weapon back into the storage ring and took out the wooden chest. As soon as he opened it, a strong medicinal fragrance immediately assailed his nose. Inside the wooden box were many sparkling and translucent fruits. The life essence was simply astonishingly rich. This is... Lu Ming was astounded. He could sense that the fragrance of the fruits was similar to that of the life and death pill, but it was stronger than the life and death pill. These are the fruits of life, White Fang explained, The tree of life on Yellow Springs Island will bear fruit every once in a while. However, for you people from the outside world, the myriad tribulation will only come once. Therefore, I have collected the fruits that bear fruit at other times. There are a total of 180 fruits here. The fruit of life's medicinal effect is not bad. Take it. Thump, thump. Lu Ming's heart pounded rapidly. There were 180 fruits of life. Lu Ming was ecstatic. He was truly ecstatic. As for White Fang's remark that the medicinal effect was not bad, Lu Ming ignored it. Not only was the fruits of life and death pill effective, but they were also priceless treasures. Lu Ming had seen the effects of the life and death pill. The injuries of the Titan longhorn beetle and the 9 lives demonic silkworm could not be healed even after countless years, but they had mostly recovered in a few days. The fruits of life were even more amazing. Didn't the ancestral dragon and the sacred ancestor of the non-human tribes fight to the death for the fruits of life? But now, Lu Ming had obtained 180 fruits of life. Lu Ming quickly closed the lid of the wooden chest and put it away. Lu Ming was over the moon. He was very satisfied. He had gained a lot this time. All right, I've told you what I should, and I've given you what I should. Now, let me send you out. White Fang said. How do we get out? Lu Ming asked. There's a boat on the other side of the Yellow Spring Island. You can take it and leave. I'll transmit my voice to the people on the island. White Fang said. Senior, wait. Lu Ming blurted out. What is it? White Fang asked. Senior, are there people with 3 eyes on the island? Lu Ming asked. That's right, there's a martial god among them. White Fang said. Senior, can you kill the martial god with 3 eyes? Lu Ming asked. If he could kill the sacred ancestor of the non-human tribes, everything would be resolved. No way. White Fang shook his head and said, We've been sealed here, thus we're under a lot of restrictions. We can't help you. Those people are your enemies, right? You should take care of them yourself. If you can't even take care of such weak enemies, how are you going to face stronger enemies in the future and avenge Master? Saying this, White Fang's figure disappeared with a flicker. Lu Ming was left speechless. Weak. That was a martial god, yet he was weak. Lu Ming finally realized that his values and thoughts were completely different from White Fang's. There was no way he could compare them. Not long after White Fang left, he came back. All right, I've spread the news. I'll send you out now. With that, White Fang waved his hands and Lu Ming's body disappeared. The next moment, Lu Ming appeared on a mountain peak. Brother Qing Tsang. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, he saw a few people flying in a certain direction. Brother Lu Ming. Qing Tsang was overjoyed when he saw Lu Ming. He immediately flew over. Brother Lu Ming, let's go. Senior Ancestral Dragon is summoning us. Qing Tsang said. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. He followed Qing Tsang and the others and flew in a certain direction. A while later, they met up not far away from the Tree of Life. Shao Qing Dandan. Chapter 25-21. Speaking of which, they had not seen each other for nearly 150 years since they entered Yellow Spring Island. They were naturally happy to meet each other now. Moreover, Lu Ming discovered that whether it was Xian Yanqing or Dandan, their cultivation had greatly improved. Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the peak of 7-star Heavenly Emperor. Dandan was not much worse. He was also a 6-star Heavenly Emperor. At this moment, a pontoon bridge appeared on all the islands in the Yellow Spring Sea region. On those islands, there were many figures rushing towards Yellow Spring Island. They were those who did not reach Yellow Spring Island and stayed on other islands. Soon, Lu Ming saw Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the others. None of his friends were fine, and their cultivation had all improved greatly. Lu Ming was relieved. A few hours later, no one appeared on those islands. Everyone is here. Let's go. Ancestral Gragon led everyone and rushed to the side of Yellow Spring Island. Along the coastline, they soon discovered 2 huge warships. Rumble. One of the battleships began to rumble as it sped forward. On it were the foreign race's divine ancestors and some other experts of the Evil God tribe. The Evil God tribe actually left first. One had to know that there were still some Evil God tribe members on the island who had not boarded the ship. Clearly, the foreign race's divine ancestor was afraid that Ancestral Gragon would fight him to the death, so he abandoned some evil god tribe members and left first. This guy is really despicable, Ancestral Gragon said angrily. He really wanted to fight the foreign race's divine ancestor to the death. Unfortunately, the foreign race's divine ancestor was deliberately avoiding him. The remaining evil god tribe members sighed helplessly when they saw the foreign race's divine ancestor and the others leave. They had been abandoned. Fortunately, the Yellow Spring world was incomparably huge. Staying here was not much different from staying in the evil god realm. When they saw the Heaven Realm experts' malicious gazes, their expressions changed. They rushed in another direction and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Let's go! Ancestral Gragon called everyone to board the heaven-piercing warship. Soon, everyone boarded the heaven-piercing battleship. The heaven-piercing battleship began to move forward, riding the wind and breaking the waves. Before long, a huge vortex appeared, and the Outsiders and their heaven-span battleships charged into it. This time, it didn't throw everyone out like it did when they first came in. The two sky-reaching battleships followed the vortex and landed below. Then, the water of the Yellow Springs flowed forward, forming a large river. Was this the source of the Yellow Springs River? Everyone couldn't help but think so. The Yellow Springs River originated from here, then flowed one round before returning to the Yellow Springs world, forming a cycle. Therefore, as long as they traveled along the Yellow River, they would one day arrive at the battlefield outside Two Realm City in the Grand Lucid Heaven domain. However, it would probably take a long time. The battlefield outside Two Realm City was already relatively close to Yellow Springs Mountain. If they took a detour from here, they would probably be very far away. Everyone looked for a place to cultivate. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the others gathered together, chatted for a while, and then went their separate ways. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a deck. With a thought, the picture scroll and the word battle appeared in his mind. Lu Ming's attention was focused on the word battle. All of a sudden, Lu Ming sensed that there was an infinitely mysterious aura emerging. This was an extremely mysterious feeling. It could only be sensed but could not be expressed in words. It was incomparably mysterious and unfathomable. This was Lu Ming's feeling toward the word battle. The word battle that Lu Ming had comprehended when he passed the third trial originated from here, but it was only a trace of it. Lu Ming began to focus on comprehending. The more he comprehended, the deeper his understanding of battle became. The Yellow Springs River was really long. They continued to travel like this for a full 2 years. At this time, the alien race's divine ancestor in front of them made a move. He forcefully tore open a space and then rushed into the space crack with a sky-reaching battleship. That's Tartarus Heaven. Many people saw and recognized the world behind the space crack. Obviously, the alien race's divine ancestor and the others had entered Tartarus Heaven and planned to return from there. Soon the space closed. They continued forward. Since they had reached Tartarus Heaven, they would not be far from Taiqing Heaven. Everyone stopped cultivating and began to wait. Indeed, not long after, the ancestral Gragon made a move and tore open the space. From the space crack, one could see that the other side was the battlefield outside Two Realm City. Let's go! The ancestral Gragon led the sky-reaching battleship through the space crack and returned to the battlefield outside Two Realm City. They were back. Many people exclaimed. This time, they had been in Yellow Springs Mountain for more than 100 years and experienced a lot. Now that they were back, it felt like a dream. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Everyone flew out of the sky-reaching battleship and flew toward Two Realm City. Soon, they were near Two Realm City. Senior Ancestral Gragon and the others are back. When they approached, the experts on Two Realm City noticed them and hurriedly opened the array to let them in. After entering, they learned that in the past 100 years, the Heaven Realm and the Evil God Tribe had not made any moves and had been in a stalemate. Then, everyone bid farewell and left. This time, many people had fortuitous encounters in Yellow Springs Mountain. Especially on Yellow Springs Island, many people had fortuitous encounters and needed to find a place to go into seclusion and digest them. The ancestral Gragon also left and returned to the lair of Zulong. He needed to use the fruit of life to recover from his injuries. Now, they were in a hurry. It could be foreseen that the alien race's divine ancestor would also recover from his injuries at the fastest speed. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Xiang Xiang, and the others stayed in Two Realm City for the time being. Lu Ming, I have to go too. My cultivation has reached the 6-star Heavenly Emperor realm. I want to find a place to go into seclusion and break through to the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. I want to return to my previous peak level. Dandan bid farewell to Lu Ming. Dandan, this is for you. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a jade box flew to Dandan. Dandan reached out and received it. When he opened it, an extremely rich medicinal fragrance wafted out. Dandan's pupils contracted, revealing a fiery look as he exclaimed, "This is the fruit of life. Kid, how did you get the fruit of life?" He remembered that when they were fighting for the fruit of life, Lu Ming was not there. "Shoo, lower your voice." Lu Ming glanced at Dandan. Fortunately, there were only the two of them here, and no one else. "Who am I? Let me tell you, I have a lot of fruits of life," Lu Ming said proudly. "Really?" Dandan was skeptical. "Nonsense, of course it's true. You can use this fruit of life to restore your cultivation to its peak," Lu Ming said. The fruit of life not only treated injuries, but also had the ability to steal the fortune of heaven and earth. In fact, even if someone who was not injured took the fruit of life, its function was extremely heaven-defying. Chapter 25-22. You really have more? Then give me another one. Dandan's eyes lit up and he began to look around Lu Ming's body. I knew you were insatiable. Lu Ming curled his lips. Hey, what do you mean insatiable? Now that the war with the foreign races is imminent, I want to raise my cultivation. In ancient times, I was not far from the demigod realm. If you give me another life fruit, I will definitely be able to break through to the demigod realm. Dandan shouted. All right, I'll give you another one. Lu Ming waved his hand and another jade box flew towards Dandan. Dandan received it and looked at it. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at Lu Ming with even more fiery eyes. Get lost, there's no more. Lu Ming berated. In the end, Dandan reluctantly left. After Dandan left, Lu Ming found Xian Yanqing and gave Xian Yanqing 2 life fruits. Xian Yanqing's cultivation was at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. Although Xian Yanqing was not injured, relying on the 2 life fruits, he could also unleash his potential and help him break through to the demigod realm. After that, Lu Ming called Bubbles, Xiang Xiang, Ouyang Moli, Huang Ling, Long Chen and the others over and gave each of them 1 life fruit. Lu Xiang Xiang, Ouyang Moli and the others' cultivation was not very high. After consuming a life fruit, they would definitely transform and have endless potential. In the future, when they cultivated, their path would definitely be smooth and they would improve quickly. After that, Lu Ming returned to Yuanlu and gave his parents and Autumn Moon a life fruit each. Lu Ming's parents, with Lu Ming's help, refined the life fruit and their cultivation soared. In a short month, they broke through to the martial sage realm. The life fruit was simply too heaven-defying. Even the martial god had a great effect on it. Using it on a martial emperor was simply a waste of resources. However, Lu Ming did not care. Moreover, it was impossible for a martial emperor or martial sage to refine the life fruit. If they consumed it, their bodies would probably explode from the medicinal strength. However, with the help of Lu Ming's sovereign Dao, there was no problem. Li Ping and Lu Yuntian broke through to the martial sage realm and their lifespans reached more than 100,000 years. Only then was Ming satisfied. Furthermore, the medicinal effects of the fruits of life were too heaven-defying. They were far from being able to refine them. In the coming days, their cultivation bases would definitely skyrocket. With the help of the life fruit, their comprehension speed of the laws were shockingly fast. In time, breaking through to the martial emperor realm was not a problem. As for Qiu Yu, Lu Xiangxiang, and the others, their cultivation would also advance by leaps and bounds in the coming days. After 1 round, Lu Ming consumed 15 fruits of life. After settling these matters, Lu Ming then calmed down and started to think about his cultivation path. Next he had 2 paths. One was to cultivate the 7 gods' mysterious art and break through the physical body. He had already cultivated his physical body to the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. Next, he could start to break through to the martial god realm. However, the 7th level of the 7 gods' mysterious art only had 4 words, return to 1. This left him scratching his head and without a clue. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming decided to put down his physical body and cultivate the Sovereign Dao. The Sovereign Dao, he was only at the peak of the Great Emperor realm. Next, he could break through to the Heavenly Emperor realm. There was still a long way to go. Moreover, the Sovereign Dao had Jing Yu's painting as a reference. It would be much easier to cultivate. Having made a decision, Lu Ming began to focus on comprehending the sovereign Tao. Now, his cultivation was at the peak of the great emperor realm. The next step was to break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Lu Ming focused on cultivating. In a blink of an eye, a few months had passed. Lu Ming stopped cultivating. His eyes flickered with doubt. While he was cultivating the sovereign Tao, he felt a powerful force between the heavens and earth stopping him, preventing him from breaking through. The force felt like the force of the world, the force of the heavenly Tao. What's going on? Why is the force of the heavens and earth stopping me? Lu Ming frowned. He could not figure it out. He began to feel anxious in his heart. There was not much time left for him. Now that the foreign tribe's divine ancestor had returned with 11 fruits of life, he and sacred ancestor Xueqi would consume the fruits of life to recover their cultivation. Once they recovered, a great battle would break out. The final battle was about to begin. Lu Ming had to make a breakthrough in his cultivation before that. Be it his physical body or the sovereign Tao, he had to make a breakthrough in one of them. Otherwise, he would not be a match for the foreign tribe's divine ancestor and sacred ancestor Xueqi. Let's ask Senior Ancestral Dragon. Lu Ming planned to ask Ancestral Dragon. Moreover, he still had a large number of fruits of life. He planned to give away some of them to improve the combat power of the heavenly realm. At the thought of this, Lu Ming moved. He tore the space apart and soon arrived at the lair of Zulong. He flew toward the mountain where Ancestral Dragon lived. When he arrived at the main hall at the highest point, a figure flashed and stopped Lu Ming. It was the 5-element Qilin, one of the top 10 battle beasts. Senior, I have an important matter to discuss with Senior Ancestral Dragon. Lu Ming clasped his fists. Senior Ancestral Dragon is recuperating in seclusion. I'm afraid it's not convenient for him to see you. The 5-element Qilin said. Recuperating in seclusion? Lu Ming sighed. If he had known this would happen, he would have asked Ancestral Dragon about it when he first returned. It's fine. At this moment, a figure flashed and Ancestral Dragon appeared. Senior, you, the 5-element Qilin was stunned. This is just a projection of me. My real body is refining the fruits of life to heal. Ancestral Dragon smiled. Lu Ming and the 5-element Qilin both let out a long sigh of relief. 5-element Qilin, you may leave first. Ancestral Dragon said. Yes. The 5-element Qilin bowed and accepted the order, then left. Lu Ming, why are you looking for me? Ancestral Dragon smiled. Senior, I'm here this time because I have something to give you. Lu Ming took out a storage ring and handed it to Ancestral Dragon. Ancestral Dragon took it curiously and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. In the next moment, Ancestral Dragon's eyes widened and his mouth fell open. Originally, with his temperament, there were almost no things in the heaven realm that could shock him like this. However, there were things in the storage ring that Lu Ming gave him. Because there were a total of 100 fruits of life in Lu Ming's storage ring. Lu Ming had a total of 180 fruits of life. He had used 15 before, so there were 165 left. Lu Ming kept 65 for himself and gave the rest to Ancestral Dragon. Fruits of life, these are fruits of life. So many of them. Ancestral Dragon mumbled to himself. Even his breathing became heavier. Lu Ming, how did you get so many fruits of life? Ancestral Dragon said in disbelief. I had a fortunate encounter at the Yellow Spring Island, so I took all the fruits of life that the island had produced over the years. Lu Ming smiled and continued, I'll give these fruits of life to you to heal your injuries. No, this is too much. Keep some for yourself. Ancestral Dragon said. I've already kept some for myself. Chapter 25-23. Ancestral Dragon was speechless. After a while he said, actually, we obtained 7 before. If I want to heal my injuries, 5 would be enough. However, during the ancient war, many experts in my heaven realm were seriously injured. Their life source was damaged, and it has been difficult for them to recover after so many years. These life fruits can be given to them. This way, the strength of my heaven realm will increase by a lot. Then it's all up to Senior. Lu Ming said. This was his original intention when he gave these life fruits to Ancestral Dragon. Lu Ming, this time, you have made a great contribution to our heaven realm. If you have any requests, feel free to ask. Ancestral Dragon said with a smile. Senior, this junior really has a question to ask. Senior, this junior wants to ask, what is 10,000 yuan returned to 1? Lu Ming asked. 10,000 yuan returned to 1? Ancestral Dragon carefully sized up Lu Ming and asked, your cultivation has already reached this step, show me. All right. Lu Ming nodded, then his muscles trembled, and his blood and qi rolled like a dragon. His aura was astonishing. This was the power of the physical body. Then, his body emitted a dazzling purple gold light. Lu Ming also unleashed the Tao of Sovereign to the extreme. Good, good, good. Ancestral Dragon's face was filled with excitement as he said good 3 times. In his eyes, he had previously felt that Lu Ming's cultivation was incomparably powerful. Now that he confirmed it, he really could not hide the excitement in his heart. His physical body was at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm, and his Tao of Sovereign had also reached an astonishing level. Such a young age. This was simply a miracle. He understood that he had still underestimated Lu Ming. Lu Ming's trip to the Yellow Springs world this time was probably an unimaginable opportunity. However, the stronger Lu Ming was, the better it was for the Heaven realm. The happier he was. Lu Ming, you have encountered a bottleneck in your cultivation, right? Ancestral Dragon asked. That's right, Senior. Please guide me. Lu Ming nodded. The next step for your flesh is the Martial God realm. In order to rank up to the Martial God realm, you must have some understanding of this realm. The Martial God realm is different from all the realms before the Martial God realm. The Martial God realm is called a god, but it has already reached another category. Before the Martial God realm, it can be said to be the first step of cultivation. Cultivating to the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm can be considered to have cultivated the first step to perfection, and the Martial God realm is the second step of cultivation. Ancestral Dragon explained in detail. Lu Ming listened attentively. At the same time, he was shocked. The cultivation before the Martial God realm was only the first step. Achieving the Martial God realm was the second step. Did that mean that the second step of cultivation also had many realms? The Martial God realm is very special. It mainly cultivates divine power. The Ancestral Dragon added. Divine power? Lu Ming was puzzled. He thought back to the Ancestral Dragon, the other race's sacred ancestor, and the other race's sacred ancestor. That's right, divine power, but in order to cultivate it, you have to combine the elements into one. What do you mean by combining all kinds of forces such as the rules, intents, great Tao, heavenly Tao, mystical skills, the force of the flesh, the force of the world, etc.? No matter what kind of force or system you're practicing, they will all merge together in the end and transform into a higher level force, which is the divine power. Only by achieving this step can one achieve the Martial God realm. As a matter of fact, the so-called undefeatable experts, who are half martial gods, have already achieved this step. They have already combined the elements into one, igniting a godly flame in their bodies. The Ancestral Dragon said. If everything is combined into one, then the small world in your body, Lu Ming asked in astonishment. Everything has to be combined into one, transforming into the divine power. The divine power is unparalleled and powerful. The force of the world is nothing before the divine power. The Tao of rulers that you practice will transform into the divine power of the ruler realm when you achieve the Martial God realm. It's a terrifying divine power. The Ancestral Dragon was slightly envious, but it soon turned into a sigh. Unfortunately, it's impossible for this world to have a god. It's impossible to have a god? What's going on? Lu Ming blurted out. He had a feeling that he was about to learn the secrets of the Ancestral Dragon. Sigh. The Ancestral Dragon let out another sigh. He fell silent for a moment before saying, the conditions of the Heaven realm, the Primordial realm, or the Demon God realm aren't enough to support a god's breakthrough. In other words, the conditions are too bad. They can only reach the half-martial God realm at most. The half-martial God realm at most? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. A moment later he asked, Senior, and the sacred ancestor of the non-human tribes, you're curious about how we reached the Martial God realm, right? That's because we're not from the Heaven realm or the Evil God realm. We came from the outside. When we came, we were already in the Martial God realm. The Ancestral Dragon said. What? This time, Lu Ming was really dumbstruck. The Ancestral Dragon, the sacred ancestor of the non-human tribes, and the other martial gods were not from the Heaven realm or the Demon God tribe. They had come from the outside. This was truly beyond his expectations. The outside, is it the ancient Desolation universe? The thought crossed Lu Ming's mind. He recalled the words that Bai Ya had told him. Senior, does that mean we can break through outside? Lu Ming asked. Sigh. The ancestral dragon let out another sigh. He fell silent for a moment before shaking his head. We can't leave now. We can't leave? Lu Ming was even more confused. It's related to a lot of things. Now's not the time to tell you. I'll tell you when I have the chance in the future. The ancestral dragon shook his head and changed the topic. Therefore, it's not suitable for you to cultivate your flesh now. You can only reach the half-martial god realm no matter how hard you try. You should focus on cultivating the Tao of Rulers. Once you break through to the Heaven Emperor realm, you'll have a chance against a martial god. At least, you can do it in the Heaven realm. Lu Ming withdrew his thoughts and suppressed the doubts in his heart. He said, Senior, I've been cultivating the Tao of Rulers, but I always feel like the world is stopping me, as if the heavenly Tao is suppressing me. What's going on? That's normal. It's because the Tao of Rulers is too domineering. The ancestral dragon said, the Tao of Rulers can dominate the world. It's extremely domineering. Even in the outside world, it's a rare force. The heavenly Tao is afraid. Afraid. That's right. Once you break through to the Heaven Emperor realm, you'll be able to dominate the world with the Tao of Rulers, including the heavenly Tao. Therefore, the heavenly Tao is afraid, trying its best to suppress you and stop you from breaking through. Therefore, when you broke through to the martial monarch realm, the heavenly tribulation was so powerful. It's because the heavenly Tao is stopping you. The ancestral dragon explained. Lu Ming came to a realization. No wonder it was so difficult for him to break through to the martial monarch realm, and the strength of the heavenly tribulation was beyond his imagination. The reason was that the heavenly Tao was afraid. Chapter 25-24. If you want to break through, you must continue to comprehend the Tao of Sovereign and deepen your understanding of the Tao of Sovereign. At the same time, you must continue to raise your strength. When your strength reaches a certain level, you will be able to break through the obstruction of the heavenly path and break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Ancestral dragon said. Lu Ming was enlightened. As expected of a martial god, ancestral dragon had pointed out the direction for Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen's future cultivation would focus on the Tao of Sovereign and the battle formula. As long as his strength was strong enough, he would be able to break through the heavenly path and break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming thanked Ancestral Dragon with joy. You don't have to thank me. Lu Ming, you are now the variable in this war and the hope of the heavenly realm. The outcome of this war depends on you. Ancestral Dragon said. Senior, you're exaggerating. Lu Ming said. I'm not exaggerating, it's the truth. Currently, the heavenly realm is in a passive position. The Divine Ancestor has obtained enough fruits of life. He and Divine Ancestor Xueqi will definitely recover. Even if I fight the Divine Ancestor to the death, he will be able to stop me and give Divine Ancestor Xueqi time to recover. Once Divine Ancestor Xueqi recovers, we'll be in trouble. On the other hand, if I don't fight the Sacred Ancestor, I won't be able to fight them on my own once they recover. Meanwhile, the other half-martial gods won't be able to achieve the martial god realm. In other words, we're in a passive position. However, you're different. As long as you cultivate the Tao of Sovereign and break through to the heavenly emperor realm, you'll have the power to dominate the heavens and earth. Therefore, you're the hope of the heavenly realm. Ancestral Gragon said a long and heartfelt speech. Lu Ming fell silent. He knew that Ancestral Dragon was right. I'll do my best to break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Lu Ming nodded solemnly. With the help of the Fruit of Life, Divine Ancestor Mok and I will recover in at most a few hundred years. However, Divine Ancestor Xueqi's injuries are more serious and he will need more time to recover. According to my estimation, Divine Ancestor Xueqi will recover in at most 1,000 years. Therefore, we have at most 1,000 years left. Ancestral Dragon said. 1,000 years? Lu Ming muttered as he clenched his fists. He must break through to the heavenly emperor realm within 1,000 years. Lu Ming, the Tao of the sovereign realm is too profound. I've only heard of it before, but have never seen it with my own eyes. Therefore, I can't give you much guidance. You will have to rely on yourself. Ancestral Dragon said. This time, I still have to thank you, Senior. Lu Ming bowed and cupped his fists. Alright. If you have any other questions in the future, feel free to look for me. Go. Ancestral Dragon said. Lu Ming turned around and left the lair of Zulong, returning to the heaven realm. 1,000 years at most. Time is running out. Lu Ming muttered. The final battle would break out in 1,000 years at most. In this 1,000 years, not only did he have to make a breakthrough, but Lu Ming also wanted his family and friends to make breakthroughs as soon as possible so that they would have enough strength to protect themselves when the catastrophe came. Lu Ming planned to choose a good place in heaven and gather all of his family and friends. He planned to pool resources and provide for everyone's cultivation. In fact, his current small world was already big enough. However, although it was big enough, the cultivation conditions were still incomparable to the heaven realm. Lu Ming left the two-world city and began to search in the heaven realm. A few days later, Lu Ming appeared in the southern region of the Taiqing Sky Domain, standing on a vast mountain. This is it. Lu Ming smiled. The origin qi in this mountain was extremely rich. One of the main peaks was 100,000 feet high, piercing through the sky. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared at the top of this mountain. Then, with a thought, his small world emerged. Rise! Lu Ming shouted. In the small world, the Enlightenment ancient tree rose with its roots and flew out of the small world, bringing a large amount of soil with it, and landed on the top of the mountain. As soon as it landed on the top of the mountain, the roots of the Enlightenment ancient tree wriggled and pierced into the soil of the mountain, taking root there. Lu Ming planned to plant the Enlightenment ancient tree there first and turn it into a cultivation holy land, where all his family and friends would gather. Now the Enlightenment ancient tree was 3,000 meters tall, covering the sky and the sun. It was incomparably huge. The aura of the great Tao lingered between each of its branches. Woo-woo. Roar. As soon as the Enlightenment ancient tree appeared, countless monsters and strange beasts in the surrounding mountains sensed it and gathered crazily in this direction. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted coldly, and a terrifying aura burst out, shrouding all the mountains. It was as if a huge dragon was looking down on a group of ants. All of the demonic beasts were almost scared to death. They immediately ran away, one by one. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming moved and began to inscribe a large formation near this mountain range, covering a radius of 1,000,000 miles. Lu Ming spent a full month to inscribe a large formation. My cultivation of formation is far from enough. In the future, I'll get Dandan to work hard and inscribe a large formation. Lu Ming smiled. Then, he sent a message to Tu-yi and Lei-yi, asking them to come over. Not long after, Tu-yi, Lei-yi, and the others arrived. From now on, you guys will stay here. Lu Ming said. Yes. Tu-yi and the others accepted the order. Also take these 6 weapons. 6 weapons appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he handed them to Feng-yi, Hua-yi, and the others. These are amazing weapons. Hua-yi and the others were shocked when they sensed it. These weapons are equivalent to heavenly Tao weapons. You can use them as long as you inject energy into them. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming had brought out dozens of weapons of this level from Yellow Spring Mountain. Tu-yi, Jin-yi, and Lei-yi all had heavenly Tao weapons. Lu Ming did not give any to them, but gave one each to Hua-yi and the others. Thank you, young master. Hua-yi and the others thanked him gratefully. Then, they led the other puppets of the Chaos Palace and started to build in this area. Soon, huge palaces and various cultivation grounds spread out with the Enlightenment ancient tree as the center. Next, he went to the battlefield outside Two World City to find Evil Swordsman and Kenfei Ryu. Evil Swordsman had also injured his origin in the ancient war. Lu Ming gave him a fruit of life. After Evil Swordsman consumed it, his injuries were healed in a short while. Evil Swordsman's original cultivation was a 5-star heavenly emperor. Now, not only had his injuries healed, but he had also broken through to become a 6-star heavenly emperor. Of course, Lu Ming did not stay for long. After he gave Evil Swordsman a fruit of life, he left and returned to the primordial realm. He brought the people of the Dragon Alliance and Divine Dragon Valley to the heavenly realm, to the new territory that he had opened up. Chapter 25-25. After that, the primordial body cultivator lineage also brought a large number of body cultivators to the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate. In addition, Bubble, Huang Ling, Long Chen, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others also brought people to the Dragon Emperor Peak. After all, the Tree of Enlightenment wasn't something that could be found anywhere. The cultivation environment here was much better than many other places, especially the 3,000-meter-tall tree of enlightenment. Some people who had a good relationship with Lu Ming and some forces came to the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate. For a time, a large number of experts gathered here. As for Lu Ming, he also gave out the weapons that he had obtained from the Netherworld Mountain. For example, the primordial body cultivator Heavenly Emperors, Lu Ming gave each of them a weapon equivalent to a Heavenly Dao soldier. As for Lu Ming himself, he stayed at the Dragon Emperor Peak and cultivated in peace. Xian Yanqing, Lu Shenhuang, and the others were also at the Dragon Emperor Peak. They often accompanied Li Ping and Lu Yuntian, so the old couple was happy every day. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. The news about the Dragon Emperor Peak had also spread, shocking many people in the Heaven Realm. I didn't expect Lu Ming to have an enlightenment ancient tree. Even among the peak experts, only a very small number of people have this. Many people in the Heaven Realm were discussing. Time passed quickly, and another year had passed. There was no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. The news that Lu Ming had a weapon equivalent to a Heavenly Dao soldier, and that Lu Ming had a fruit of life had also spread. This time, it really caused a huge commotion in the Heaven Realm. Countless people's hearts were filled with greed, and each of the powerful forces had different thoughts. In a powerful force, several higher-ups were discussing this matter. Sect Master, Lu Ming not only controls the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, but also has a Heavenly Dao soldier weapon and a heaven-defying treasure like the Fruit of Life. If we get it, our strength will definitely skyrocket. Yes, why don't we take it? Several higher-ups suggested. No, the common enemy of the Heaven Realm is the evil god tribe. If we attack Lu Ming, I'm afraid the ancestral dragon won't let us go. Moreover, I heard that Lu Ming has a very good relationship with a few of the top 10 beasts. The sect leader said. If we can't do it openly, we can do it secretly. We can secretly steal Lu Ming's treasures. Someone suggested, revealing a ruthless expression. This won't do. Lu Ming has many experts by his side. Not only are there the 9 celestial emperors of the Primal Chaos Palace, but there are also immemorial body cultivators. There are peerless experts among them, and they won't be easy to deal with. The sect leader said. As for Lu Ming's own strength, they didn't really care. After all, the ancestral dragon had ordered everyone to keep what had happened in the Yellow Springs Mountain a secret. Then what should we do? Someone asked. Lu Ming is a peerless genius. There are too many experts behind him. It's too risky to deal with him. Let's observe first. It would be best if someone were to take the lead. The sect leader said. It was not just this faction. Many other factions did not dare to make a move rashly in the end. They planned to observe the situation first. For a time, there were some undercurrents in the Tai Ching heavenly domain. In a courtyard of the Dragon Emperor Peak, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were also chatting. Every time Lu Ming cultivated for a while, he would take some time to rest and accompany his family. Now that you have a Heavenly Dao weapon and a Fruit of Life, the news has spread. These are all priceless things. Aren't you afraid of being targeted by others? Xian Yanqing said with a smile. Why would we be afraid? Lu Ming smiled. With their current strength, who would want to target them? Xian Yanqing also smiled. Whoever wanted to target them could only be considered unlucky. However, it's not good to be targeted every day. After all, we're all from the Heaven Realm, and we'll have to fight together in the future. I'll dispel their thoughts. Lu Ming said with a smile. A few days later, a piece of news spread throughout the Tai Ching heavenly domain. 3 months later, Lu Ming would invite one of the top 10 war beasts, the 9-headed golden lion, Qing Tsong, to preach the Tao at the Dragon Emperor Peak. At that time, everyone was welcome to come and listen. When this news came out, it caused an uproar in the Tai Ching heavenly domain. What kind of existence was the 9-headed golden lion? That was a creature whose name shook the world in ancient times. His cultivation base was at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm, and he was extremely powerful. Lu Ming could actually invite Qing Tsong to preach the Tao at the Dragon Emperor Peak. This was enough to show how close the relationship between Lu Ming and Qing Tsong was. Those powerful forces who were originally eyeing Lu Ming's treasures, when they heard this news, it was like a basin of cold water poured over their heads. They immediately dispelled the idea of attacking Lu Ming. What a joke! In the past, there were rumors that Lu Ming had a good relationship with the top 10 war beasts, but that was only a rumor after all. But now, Lu Ming could invite him to preach the Tao. Their relationship was more than just good. Going against such a powerhouse, wasn't it courting death? In the next 3 months, countless powerhouses in the Tai Ching heavenly domain gathered towards the Dragon Emperor Peak. There were even quite a few heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses. For a time, experts gathered at the Dragon Emperor Peak. And on this day 3 months later, Qing Tsung arrived as promised and started preaching the Tao. A peak heavenly emperor's understanding of cultivation had already reached an extremely profound realm. With this lecture, countless people benefited greatly. There were even some heavenly emperors who obtained great inspiration. One had to know that there were not many peak heavenly emperors in the entire heaven realm. Especially after the ancient war, those who died, those who were injured, all of them were in closed-door cultivation bitterly, or recuperating from their injuries. Who would come out to preach the Tao? After this lecture, Lu Ming released another important piece of news. 10 years later, he would invite another peak heavenly emperor to preach the Tao at the Dragon Emperor Peak. Everyone was even more shocked. Lu Ming could actually invite a peak heavenly emperor to preach the Tao. This kind of power made people alarmed. Those forces who had ideas about Lu Ming completely extinguished the thoughts in their hearts. Although treasures were important, they also needed to have the life to take them. Everyone was looking forward to it, looking forward to the arrival of 10 years later. 10 years, to powerhouses, passed in the blink of an eye. 10 years later, Lu Ming invited a peak heavenly emperor of the prison suppression realm to preach the Tao at the Dragon Emperor Peak. This time, even more people came to the Dragon Emperor Peak to listen. It was simply a sea of people. At the same time, after the lecture ended, Lu Ming promised that 10 years later, there would also be a peak heavenly emperor who would preach the Tao. Everyone was shocked. For Lu Ming to be able to invite such an existence, just how many powerhouses did he have relations with? This time, there were many who simply stayed near the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate and did not leave. In any case, the Dragon Emperor Peak had the Tao Comprehension Ancient Tree. The cultivation environment was also top-notch in the heaven realm. Furthermore, Lu Ming also held an open attitude, welcoming others to come here to cultivate. This time, not long after, Dandan finally came out of seclusion. His cultivation had reached peak heavenly emperor. Originally, he planned to continue in seclusion to break through to the demigod realm in one go. But he was forcefully dragged over by Lu Ming and worked hard for 3 months near the Dragon Emperor Peak, setting up a large array. After setting up the large array, Dandan ran away. No one knew where he ran to go into seclusion to break through. Chapter 25-26. The great array set up by Dandan not only had the function of defending against attacks, but it also had the function of gathering heaven and earth origin energy. The origin energy between heaven and earth gathered near Dragon Emperor Peak, making the origin energy density here 10 times that of other places. For a time, Dragon Emperor Peak turned into a cultivation holy land. Countless people came to cultivate. Once the 10 years were up, Lu Ming invited the 9 Lives demonic silkworm to preach the Tao. Many people were inspired to break through their bottlenecks and raise their cultivation. After that, every 10 years, Lu Ming would invite a peak heavenly emperor to preach the Tao. This kind of thing continued for 60 years. 60 years later, Lu Ming did not continue to invite peak heavenly emperors. But it was enough. Everyone in the heavenly realm knew about Lu Ming's relationship. It was too shocking. The experts standing behind him were terrifying. Even if many people thought that Lu Ming himself was not very strong, he was still shocked by his ability. And 60 years later, although there were no peak heavenly emperors preaching the Tao, it seemed to have formed a tradition. From time to time, there would be powerful heavenly emperors preaching the Tao here, attracting many people to listen. Some of these preachers were 4-star heavenly emperors. Some were 5-star heavenly emperors. Although they were far from peak heavenly emperors, it was still a rare opportunity for those below heavenly emperor. Dragon Emperor Peak had turned into a cultivation holy land. Time passed quickly. 100 years had passed since Lu Ming and the others came out of Yellow Springs Mountain. In these 100 years, other than accompanying his family or teaching his disciples, Lu Ming spent the rest of his time cultivating. In 100 years, his comprehension of the Tao of Sovereign became stronger and stronger. However, his cultivation was still at peak heavenly emperor and did not break through. His comprehension of the battle character art also became deeper and deeper. Compared to when he first came out of Yellow Springs Mountain, It had increased by several times. As for the others, such as Lu Xiangxiang, Ouyang Moli, Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the others, they had all improved greatly. They had consumed the life fruit, and their potential had all erupted. Now, all of them had stepped into the heavenly emperor realm. Even Lu Ming's two in-name disciples, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaorou, had become heavenly emperors. On this day, Lu Ming and Li Ping were drinking tea and chatting in the courtyard. Your and Shao Qing's granddaughter is already so old. Aren't you going to settle your affairs? Li Ping asked. This, Lu Ming pondered. His granddaughter, Lu Qi, had displayed shocking talent in cultivation. She had long achieved the martial monarch realm after cultivating for more than 200 years. If not for the fact that Lu Ming was focused on cultivation and had no intention of getting married, who knew how many descendants he would have? However, his wedding with Xian Yanqing hadn't been held yet. Li Ping and Lu Yuntian were still thinking about it. You're thinking about Autumn Moon, Miss Huang Ling, and Miss Mulins, right? Li Ping glanced at Lu Ming and said with a faint smile. Cough cough. Lu Ming coughed dryly. That was indeed the case. Now, his family and friends had gathered around the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate. Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon were naturally there. Huang Ling and Mulins were also there. Not only Lu Ming, but everyone else could see their feelings for Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming didn't know how to face them. Therefore, the wedding had been delayed. You're exactly the same as your father when he was young. You also like to flirt around, Li Ping said unhappily. Cough cough cough. You're such a woman. Don't talk nonsense. When did I flirt around? At the side, Lu Yuntian quickly coughed and his face turned red. Father, mother, let me think about this matter. Let me think about it. Lu Ming also had a headache. The only thing he could do now was to delay and find an opportunity to test Xian Yanqing. Boom, boom. At this moment, a few explosions suddenly came from the distant sky. Someone had broken in. Lu Ming immediately thought that someone had broken in and was attacked by the array. Who is it? How dare you break into the Dragon Emperor Peak? Stay here. Without needing Lu Ming to make a move, 5 to 6 figures immediately rushed out from the Dragon Emperor Peak and flew into the sky to launch an attack. It was Lei, 2E, Jean E and the rest. Swoosh. In the sky above the Dragon Emperor Peak, a black shadow flashed rapidly and exchanged blows with Lei and the rest. However, after a few moves, Lei and the rest were completely defeated and were forced to retreat. Let this old man fight you. An old man stepped out from the Dragon Monarch Peak. His fist was like a mountain as it blasted towards the black figure. This old man was an ancient body cultivator and also the strongest one. Back then, his cultivation had reached the level of a 4-star heavenly emperor. The two of them exchanged more than 10 moves, but the ancient body cultivator was actually defeated and was forced to retreat. He. I heard that the Dragon Emperor Peak is filled with experts. It's just a sneer sounded and a figure appeared in the sky. This was a black-robed old man. His figure was skinny and his eyes were cold. It's the Black Bat King. One of the 3 kings of darkness, the Black Bat King. On the Dragon Emperor Peak, voices immediately came out. Near the Dragon Emperor Peak, not only were Lu Ming's friends and family cultivating here, there were also many others cultivating here. Someone recognized this black-robed old man. So it's the 3 kings of darkness. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He had also heard of the 3 kings of darkness. They were the 3 notorious scum of the heaven realm. As the saying went, when the forest was big, there were all kinds of people. There were countless living beings in the heaven realm, and not everyone was wholeheartedly against the evil god race. Among them, there were some who never fought with other races and often attacked the heaven realm powerhouses. Their notoriety spread far and wide. The 3 kings of darkness were the best among them. The 3 kings of darkness were not humans, but 3 divine beasts. Moreover, their cultivation was astonishingly strong. 2 were 5-star heavenly emperors, and 1 was a 6-star heavenly emperor. In addition, they were extremely cautious in their actions and never provoked powerhouses with high cultivation. Moreover, they had no fixed residence and appeared and disappeared unpredictably. Moreover, they were all good at speed. Some of the Heaven Realm's peak powerhouses wanted to get rid of them, but each time, the other party escaped. At the mention of the 3 kings of darkness, the expressions of many people in the Heaven Realm changed. Black Bat King, You dare to come to my Dragon Emperor Peak? Aren't you afraid of dying? Lei roared. He, don't think that I don't know. We brothers have waited for 100 years and paid attention for 100 years. Naturally, we have the confidence to take action. Recently, there has been no one preaching on the Dragon Emperor Peak. Those 5-star heavenly emperors and above have all left. Who can do anything to us brothers? The Black Bat King laughed loudly and then stepped out. His 5-star heavenly emperor cultivation was undoubtedly revealed. Lu Ming, get out here. Hand over your battle weapon and the fruit of life. Also, we brothers want this enlightenment ancient tree too. After saying that, the Black Bat King stretched out a big hand and grabbed toward the enlightenment ancient tree at the top of the Dragon Emperor Peak. Don't even think about it. Lei and the rest, as well as the primordial body cultivator Heavenly Emperor, all soared into the sky and attacked the Black Bat King, blocking him. But at this time, the space behind the Black Bat King split open, and 2 more figures appeared. Chapter 25-27. The other 2 kings of the 3 kings of darkness had arrived. They were the Black Eagle King and the Black Wing King. Among them, the Black Eagle King's cultivation was a 6-star heavenly emperor, while the Black Wing King's cultivation was a 5-star heavenly emperor. The 3 people's aura spread out without restraint, enveloping Dragon Emperor Peak within. On Dragon Emperor Peak, many people's faces turned pale. The 3 kings of darkness must have been eyeing this place for a long time. During this period of time, Dragon Emperor Peak lacked powerhouses. Sometimes, there were still 5-star heavenly emperors and 6-star heavenly emperors staying in Dragon Emperor Peak. But during this period of time, these powerhouses had all left. Obviously, the 3 kings of darkness took advantage of this gap to come here. Lu Ming, hand over the treasures on you, and we 3 brothers can spare your life. The Black Bat King hooted again. So what if there were many powerhouses standing behind Lu Ming? As long as they snatched Lu Ming's treasures and found a place to hide, who could find them? Looks like I need to make a move to establish my might. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a sneer, and a trace of cold light flashed across his eyes. Obviously, most people were afraid of the power behind him and didn't dare to make a move against him. But that didn't mean that everyone didn't dare to. Those desperados who had no worries dared to. And all of this was because many people thought that Lu Ming's strength wasn't strong enough. Today, Lu Ming was going to get rid of these people's hopes. Originally, the array set up by Dandan here was enough to kill the 3 kings of darkness. But this time, Lu Ming didn't plan to activate the array and wanted to take action personally. Father, Mother, I have something to do. Lu Ming said to Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. Ming-er, you have to be careful. Li Ping said with concern. Father, Mother, don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and took a step forward. The next moment, he appeared in the sky above Dragon Emperor Peak, facing the 3 kings of darkness. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. It's too dangerous for him to face the 3 kings of darkness like this. Many people were discussing in shock. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you're finally willing to come out. The Black Wing King of the 3 kings of darkness sneered. On account of how difficult it is for you to cultivate, surrender and become my mountain guardian divine beasts, and I can spare your lives. Lu Ming said coldly. What? The 3 kings of darkness were stunned as they stared at each other. Lu Ming actually told them to surrender, and even asked them to be his mountain guardian divine beasts. Was he crazy? Did he think that there were still experts overseeing the Dragon Emperor Peak? They had been hiding in the Dragon Emperor Peak for over 100 years, so they were well aware of the people coming in and out of the Dragon Emperor Peak. He wanted to scare them. They thought that Lu Ming was bluffing. Lu Ming, you don't have to bluff. We know the Dragon Emperor Peak like the back of our hand. You can't scare us. The Black Bat King sneered. That's right. Today, your Dragon Sovereign Peak's strongest person is also just a 4-star heavenly emperor. The Black Wing King also sneered. The leader of the 3 kings of darkness, the Dark Eagle King, remained silent. Really? Dragon Emperor Peak's strongest was only a 4-star heavenly emperor? How did you come to this conclusion? The smile at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth became even wider. Then he continued to step out. Bluffing. Since that's the case, I'll kill you. Your treasures will still belong to us. The Black Bat King let out a long howl. His figure suddenly flashed and disappeared. The 3 kings of darkness were known for their speed. The moment the Black Bat King moved, His speed was fast to the extreme. Ordinary people of the same level as him couldn't keep up with his speed at all. However, the one he encountered was Lu Ming. Lu Ming stood there without moving, as if he didn't see the Black Bat King make a move. Not good. Lei, Gold One, and the rest of the people from the Dragon Emperor Peak were all shocked. Let's go and help the young master. Lei, Gold One, and the rest wanted to rush towards Lu Ming. Don't interfere. Lu Ming waved his hand and stopped Lei and the rest from making a move. Whoosh! At this moment, a bright brilliance burst out from behind Lu Ming and pierced towards Lu Ming's back. The Black Bat King had launched an attack. His timing was very accurate. When Lu Ming stopped Lei and the rest, he revealed a flaw. In addition, the Black Bat King's attack was fast, accurate, and ruthless. He had full confidence that this move could stab Lu Ming. Sure enough, he stabbed him. The long sword in his hand pierced Lu Ming's back. At this moment, everyone's face changed greatly. The others' faces changed greatly because they thought that Lu Ming was finished and was going to fall in the hands of the Black Bat King. The reason why the Black Bat King's face changed greatly was the opposite of the others. Because he found that his long sword pierced Lu Ming's back, but it couldn't pierce through. Lu Ming's body seemed to be harder than any divine weapon. His long sword stopped on Lu Ming's skin and couldn't pierce through anymore, no matter how much strength he used. Not good. The Black Bat King roared in his heart and wanted to retreat, but he was shocked to find that Lu Ming's body produced a terrifying force that firmly sucked him in. He couldn't retreat at all. Not to mention retreating, even if he wanted to move, he couldn't. Terrifying. Extremely terrifying. At this moment, the Black Bat King's heart was filled with great fear. He suddenly understood that he was facing an extremely terrifying existence. The Black Bat King's face became uglier than crying. Lu Ming slowly turned around and faced the Black Bat King, revealing a bright smile. Your strength isn't that great either? Lu Ming smiled. Around them at the scene, the others were also stunned with a confused look. What was going on? Why did the Black Bat King stab Lu Ming with his sword and nothing happened to Lu Ming, while the Black Bat King just stood there motionless as if his body was fixed? Many people were already stunned. Big brother, second brother, leave quickly, this person is strange. The Black Bat King reacted and immediately shouted, Let go of my third brother. Let go of him. The Black Eagle King and Black Wing King didn't leave. Both of them roared and revealed their true forms. It was a huge black eagle and a huge black sparrow. The Black Eagle King and Black Wing King flapped their wings, stirring up a gust of wind as they charged towards Lu Ming. Stubborn. Suppress. Lu Ming said coldly. He stretched out a hand and pressed towards the void. Rumble. In the sky, endless energy gathered and a purple-gold giant hand was formed. It covered the sky and pressed down on the Black Eagle King and Black Wing King. The terrifying power made the Black Eagle King and Black Wing King's faces change drastically. Not good. Leave quickly. The Black Eagle King roared in horror. He flapped his wings and turned to leave. Because when Lu Ming struck out with his palm, he knew that he was definitely not a match for Lu Ming. The Black Wing King was the same as he turned to leave. However, they couldn't leave at all. The two of them were like two slow mosquitoes that were enveloped by a palm, and couldn't escape the range of the palm suppression. Boom! Chapter 25-28. Bang! Bang! The ground shook. Dark Eagle King and Black Wing King were suppressed to the ground, unable to move at all. It was as if they were pressed down by an incomparably heavy mountain. The scene fell into a dead silence. Everyone looked on dumbfoundedly. For a moment, they completely did not react. Only after a long while did the sound of sucking in cold air came from the scene. Everyone looked at Lu Ming with a look of horror. Heavens, what did they see? Dark Eagle King and Black Wing King were actually suppressed by Lu Ming with one palm. That was a 6-star Heavenly Emperor, a 5-star Heavenly Emperor, roaming the Heaven Realm for countless years, coming and going without a trace. Some peak powerhouses could not do anything to them because they could not find them. But now, they were suppressed by Lu Ming with one palm. Lu Ming's strength was actually already powerful to such an extent? Horrifying, too horrifying. Miracle. This was simply a miracle. There had never been anyone who could reach this step at Lu Ming's age. Following that, there was an uproar at the scene. Everyone started discussing excitedly. As for Black Bat King, when he witnessed all of this, he was almost frightened to death. The expression on his face was even uglier than crying. Bang! Lu Ming directly kicked out, kicking Black Bat King's stomach. Black Bat King screamed miserably, his body flying out, smashing heavily on the ground, side by side with Dark Eagle King and Black Wing King. I'll give you all one last chance. Surrender and be my mountain guardian divine beasts. Otherwise, you all will be my appetizer tonight. Lu Ming said coldly, his icy gaze sweeping over the three kings of darkness, making them shudder. Become Lu Ming's appetizer. At the thought of this, they broke out in cold sweat all over. We're willing to surrender. Willing to surrender. We surrender. The three kings of darkness cried out one after another. At this very moment, they were very clear that if they did not surrender, there was only death. Open your mind. I'll plant a restriction on your souls. Whoever resists, die. Lu Ming said. Yes, yes, yes. The three kings of darkness nodded and bowed. Immediately, Lu Ming planted a restriction in the souls of the three kings of darkness. The three kings of darkness had completely become Lu Ming's guardian beasts. Master, the three of us have offended quite a number of enemies over the years. I'm afraid many people will come looking for trouble if we join you. The Dark Eagle King said worriedly. Don't worry. Now that you've become my mountain guardian divine beasts, you're my people. No one will dare to cause trouble for you. Lu Ming said, full of confidence. Yes, yes, Master's divine power is unparalleled. Whoever comes to find trouble with Master will die. The Black Bat King immediately said with a flattering expression. All right, you'll guard the three directions of Dragon Emperor Peak. Go. Lu Ming waved his hand. Yes, yes, yes. The three kings of darkness nodded their heads as they reverted to their original forms and flew towards the Dragon Monarch Peak. At this moment, many people were completely shocked. The three kings of darkness who wreaked havoc in the heaven realm were subdued by Lu Ming just like that. It was simply a piece of cake. They were deeply shocked by Lu Ming's means and Lu Ming's combat strength. Lu Ming's strength had already reached this level? With a flip of his hand, he could suppress a 6-star heavenly emperor. This kind of strength was already standing at the pinnacle of this world. No, this news must be reported to the sect master. Hurry up and send a voice transmission to the family master. Many people started to move. Regarding the matter of Lu Ming suppressing the three kings of darkness, it spread out at a terrifying speed and soon spread throughout the entire Grand Pure Sky domain, even to the primordial realm. Heaven realm, primordial realm, because of Lu Ming's matter, it set off monstrous waves. Everyone who heard the news was dumbfounded with shock. Suppressing a 6-star heavenly emperor with a flip of his hand. What kind of strength was this? Everyone understood that they had completely underestimated Lu Ming in the past. Lu Ming, not only was there a terrifying powerhouse behind him, even he himself was an incomparably powerful existence. They finally knew why those pinnacle powerhouses had such a good relationship with Lu Ming. That was because Lu Ming was an existence on the same level as them. One by one, the powerful forces and powerful existences no longer had the slightest trace of disloyalty and thoughts towards Lu Ming. There were even many forces who sent envoys to congratulate Lu Ming. Of course, they were all blocked by Lu Ming outside the door. Lu Ming, have you already reached this step? It seems that I'm not your match after all. On a certain mountain peak in the heaven realm, Tian Ming stood with his hands behind his back, his face full of complex emotions. Now, he had also stepped into the great emperor realm. This cultivation speed could be said to be very strong in the history of the heaven realm, but compared to Lu Ming, it was too far away. Heaven realm, Lin family. Back then, one of the heaven realm's 9 absolutes, Lin Xiaofeng, looked in the direction of the Dragon Emperor Peak. Lu Ming is indeed not what I can compare to. I should put down the pride in my heart and go to the Dragon Emperor Peak to seek Tao. Finished speaking, Lin Xiaofeng turned into a rainbow light and left this place, heading towards the Dragon Emperor Peak. Lan family, after everyone heard this news, they were silent for a while, then rejoiced. Back then they had a grudge with Lu Ming, but later, they listened to the Lan family's old ancestor suggestion and apologized to Lu Ming in public. Back then, there were still many people who were indignant and felt uncomfortable in their hearts, thinking that there was no need to apologize to Lu Ming. But now they were all rejoicing that they had resolved their grudges with Lu Ming. Otherwise, the Lan family would definitely be wiped out. Lu Ming. Shen Yuan-yi, who had defeated Lin Xiaofeng and became the first of the 9 absolutes, and then was defeated by Lu Ming, stood in a courtyard of the Lan family, looking in the direction of the Dragon Emperor Peak with a complicated look in his eyes. Shen Yuan, you don't have to worry about it. Lu Ming is a person who shines through the ancients and dazzles the contemporaries. Since ancient times, there has never been such a person. Such a person is destined to be the main character of the world. He's not someone we can compare to. Lan Xia walked over and held Shen Yuan Yi's hand. She knew that Shen Yuan Yi had been defeated by Lu Ming back then and had always had a knot in his heart. Sigh. After a long while, Shen Yuan Yi sighed and said, I understand. From now on, I won't treat him as an opponent anymore. Lu Ming! Lu Ming! At this moment, countless people in the Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm were chanting this name. Those who had a grudge against Lu Ming were all trembling with fear. Those who had a good relationship with Lu Ming were all smiles. From then on, Lu Ming had become an overlord in everyone's hearts, a giant of the Heaven Realm. And there were even more people who went to the Dragon Emperor Peak to cultivate, and there was an endless stream. Lu Ming did not refuse anyone. A few months later, he even personally held a forum to preach the Tao. Those who listened were deeply impressed by Lu Ming's Tao. After this incident, the days in the Dragon Emperor Peak fell into peace. In fact, the entire Heaven Realm, the Primordial Realm, and the Evil God Realm were very peaceful during this period. Other than the occasional battle between the two battlefields, it was peaceful. Everyone was in seclusion, cultivating with all their might. Chapter 25-29. Spring went and autumn came, and another 100 years passed in a hurry. It had been 200 years since Lu Ming and the others returned from the Yellow Springs Mountain. At the peak of the Dragon Emperor Peak, in a secret chamber, Lu Ming ended his cultivation with a frown. After another 100 years, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the limit of the Peak Great Emperor Realm. He felt that he could break through to the Heavenly Emperor Realm at any time. However, the power between heaven and earth that hindered him was too strong. He couldn't break through. My battle strength is still not enough. It's difficult to break through the power of the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming frowned and pondered. After more than 200 years of cultivation, Lu Ming realized that his cultivation of the battle word incantation was still too slow. Moreover, he seemed to have encountered a bottleneck in his cultivation of the battle character art. It had been more than 10 years, and there was no improvement at all. The battle character art must be improved in battle. Only in battle can the comprehension of the battle character art be faster. Moreover, I have encountered a bottleneck now. I need to go through an intense battle to break through. Lu Ming pondered. However, at his current level, there weren't many people who could fight with him. Even if he went to find the demigods of the Heaven Realm to fight, as they were both from the Heaven Realm, it was impossible for them to fight to the death. The effect would definitely not be good. The Evil God Tribe. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He thought of the Evil God Tribe. The Evil God Tribe was the best whetstone. Then I'll use you guys to practice first. Lu Ming muttered and then left the place of seclusion. With a step, the space directly split open. Lu Ming stepped into the space and disappeared. The next moment, his figure appeared on the battlefield outside Two World City. All these years, the Evil God Tribe had been focused on defense. However, they would also send some people to fight with the Heaven Realm on the battlefield. Therefore, on this battlefield, there were still frequent battles between the Heaven Realm and the Evil God Tribe. However, they were all small-scale battles, and there were no large-scale battles. Lu Ming stepped out and headed in the direction of the Hunyuan Heaven Realm. Kill! Kill! After walking for a while, Lu Ming heard intense battle cries in front. A group of people were fighting fiercely. There were people from the Heaven Realm and also people from the Evil God race. There were a total of several hundred people. Both sides fought fiercely, with people dying from time to time. Lu Ming walked forward in a straight line, heading toward the battlefield. Kill! At the sight of Lu Ming, a tall and burly Evil God race being brandished his battle axe and charged towards Lu Ming. Wang! A muscle in Lu Ming's chest violently vibrated. The vibration of the muscle caused the space to vibrate violently, forming a terrifying power. Instantly, the body of the foreign race being exploded apart. With the current level of Lu Ming's physical body, he didn't even need to make a move. The terrifying power that erupted from the vibration of his muscles was enough to kill his enemies. Bang! Bang! As Lu Ming stepped forward, the bodies of all the Evil God tribesmen who got close to Lu Ming exploded, dying on the spot. However, the creatures of the heaven realm were also fine. Many people were shocked. What kind of method was this? They didn't even see Lu Ming make a move, but those evil god tribesmen were already dead. Lu Ming, he is Lu Ming! Someone exclaimed, recognizing Lu Ming. So it's Lu Ming. No wonder. The people of the heaven realm were overjoyed. As for those evil god tribesmen, they were scared and turned to run. Swoosh! Lu Ming waved his hand, and a purple gold light flashed, sweeping across the void. All the evil god tribesmen were killed on the spot. So strong. Too strong. Is this Lu Ming's strength? Those evil god tribesmen couldn't even withstand a single blow. Seeing that Lu Ming had killed hundreds of evil god tribesmen with just a wave of his hand, the people of the heaven realm were shocked. After killing hundreds of evil god tribesmen, Lu Ming didn't stop and continued to move forward. Where is Lu Ming going? Is he going to kill his way to the evil god tribesmen's camp? It's been a long time since someone of this level made a move. This is a big deal. Haha, let's go and take a look. These heaven realm beings all followed behind Lu Ming. Lu Ming kept moving forward. Along the way, he encountered several battles. Lu Ming casually attacked and killed the evil god tribesmen. After the heaven realm beings recognized Lu Ming, they all followed behind Lu Ming. There were more than 1,000 of them. Finally, a huge object appeared in front. They had arrived at the evil god tribesmen's camp. The evil god tribesmen's camp was incomparably huge. It completely blocked the path to the Hunyuan heaven realm. It was densely packed with all kinds of buildings and countless evil god tribesmen. The camp was surrounded by large formations that flickered with light, defending the camp. In some places, the heaven realm beings were fighting with the evil god tribesmen. Boom! Lu Ming's aura began to rise. A long spear condensed from sovereign power appeared in his hand. Swoosh! Lu Ming soared into the sky. He stood high in the sky, holding the long spear with both hands. With the momentum of Mount Tai, he slammed it down with all his might. The long spear in his hand rapidly enlarged, filling the sky. It was even more majestic than a mountain range as it pressed down on the evil god tribesmen's camp. Not good. Someone is attacking the camp. The evil god tribesmen's camp shook. Countless figures flew around. Large formation, activate the large formation. Don't panic. Our large formation is enough to block it. Voices spread throughout the entire military camp. The evil god tribesmen's camp lit up with rays of light. A huge light shrouded the evil god tribesmen's camp. Boom! The purple gold long spear heavily struck the light barrier of the evil god tribesmen's camp. When the long spear struck the light barrier, the entire battlefield seemed to shake violently, stirring up dust into the air. Bang! Bang! The ground near the evil god tribesmen's camp exploded continuously. Shattered rocks flew everywhere. Huge cracks appeared on the ground like a spiderweb. The light barrier formed by the evil god tribesmen's large formation shook violently. It was like an elastic bubble, collapsing under the pressure. Break! Lu Ming shouted. His entire body's strength erupted as he pressed down. Bang! The light barrier of the evil god tribesmen's camp directly exploded. It broke. The large formation of the evil god tribesmen's large formation was broken by Lu Ming's spear. The huge long spear pressed down with a terrifying might. Run, quickly run! Run! The countenances of countless evil god tribesmen changed drastically. They were almost scared to death. However, as the long spear pressed down, it stirred up an endless spatial storm. Many evil god tribesmen did not manage to escape before they were crushed into meat paste by the terrifying power. The evil god tribesmen exploded one after another. Boom! The huge long spear finally struck the ground. Countless buildings exploded. A huge spear mark 5 million miles long and 1 million miles wide appeared on the ground in front. Tragic! In this instant, countless evil god tribesmen were killed by Lu Ming. The evil god tribesmen's camp was in a mess. Heavens! When the living beings of the heaven realm saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. Chapter 25-30. Lu Ming broke through the evil god race's formation, took a step forward, and appeared in front of the evil god race's camp, his long spear sweeping out. Like sweeping away 1,000 troops, the barracks that he did not hit earlier were constantly shattered under the long spear. Run, quickly run! countless members of the evil god race turned into countless streaks of rainbow light, frantically fleeing toward the back of the camp. Lu Ming courting death. Damn it! Several angry roars came from the depths of the evil god race's camp. Several terrifying auras rose up, rushing over here crazily. Peak Heavenly Emperor. It's a peak Heavenly Emperor. The faces of many Heaven Realm creatures changed wildly, and they subconsciously wanted to escape. Quick, send a voice transmission to 2 Realm City. Call the experts over. The other party has 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. Some people had already begun to send voice transmissions. 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Swoosh, swoosh. The speed of a peak Heavenly Emperor was too fast. In an instant, he appeared in front of Lu Ming. There's another acquaintance. A cold light flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. One of them was Merogia, known as the world-breaking general. Back then, it was Merogia who captured Lu Ming and brought him to the evil god realm. The other two, one was from the evil god race's royal family, and the other was from the evil god race's noble family. Their bodies were covered in purple scales, shining with light. The eyes of the 3 peak Heavenly Emperors revealed terrifying killing intent, wishing that they could tear Lu Ming into pieces. Behind them, the Heaven Realm creatures felt the terrifying pressure. Many of them had already retreated. Some of them were bold. Seeing that Lu Ming did not move, they reluctantly mustered up their courage to watch. Lu Ming, you killed so many of my people. Today, you will die without a doubt. Merogia said coldly. Make your move, Merogia. Today, I will settle the grudge of you capturing me back then. However, I advise you all to attack together. Lu Ming said. Arrogant. I alone am enough to kill you. Merogia shouted coldly. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Lu Ming. His purple hair danced in the wind, and his aura rose to the extreme. Whoosh! A battle sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed at Lu Ming. With a single slash, the void was sliced apart, creating a 1,000,000-mile-long crack. When a peak Heavenly Emperor attacked at full power, the power was unimaginably strong. There was no doubt that the sword in Merogia's hand was a Heavenly Dao weapon. Wang! The long spear in Lu Ming's hand shook and swept out, colliding with Merogia's battle sword. Clang! With a deafening boom, Merogia's body shook violently and was thrown back tens of thousands of miles. He spat out a mouthful of blood. How is this possible? Merogia roared in his heart, shocked beyond belief. The two of them had only exchanged a single blow, and he had already been injured by Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming had not even used the Heavenly Dao soldier, but he had. He simply could not accept it. Back then, he could kill Lu Ming with a flip of his hand. But now he could actually injure him. It had only been a few hundred years. A few hundred years was just a blink of an eye for people of their level. Not only him, but the evil god race, the other 2 peak Heavenly Emperors, and the other evil god race members were all stunned. And the Heavenly Realm's life forms were also stunned. Injuring a peak Heavenly Emperor in one move. Is this Lu Ming's strength? Too terrifying. Even some of the Heavenly Realm's life forms who were fleeing stopped in their tracks. I said, you can't do it alone. The 3 of you come together. Lu Ming said. The purple gold spear in his hand collapsed and was replaced by the great desolate spear. Attack together. Merogia looked at the other 2 peak Heavenly Emperors. Good. Attack together today. We must kill this person. The other peak Heavenly Emperor of the evil god race nodded and sent a voice transmission to the other 2. Lu Ming was really terrifying. At such a young age, he actually had such battle prowess. They had also heard of Lu Ming's performance in the Yellow Springs Mountain. The evil god race members who had entered the Yellow Springs Mountain all said that Lu Ming could control the divine 9-dragon cauldron and had the battle prowess of a peak Heavenly Emperor. But just now, Lu Ming did not use anything. He only relied on his own strength to injure Merogia. This was a little terrifying. This proved that Lu Ming's strength was increasing crazily. If such a person was not killed, there would be endless trouble in the future. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 peak Heavenly Emperors instantly moved, attacking Lu Ming from 3 directions. Come on. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of fighting spirit. The great desolate spear shook, instantly thrusting out 3 times. 3 spear lights pierced towards Merogia and the other 2. With 3 consecutive booms, Merogia and the other 2's attacks were all defeated by Lu Ming. In fact, they were even forced back by Lu Ming's attacks. Kill. Lu Ming stepped out, his aura like a rainbow. His long spear vibrated, soaring spear light continuously attacked the three people, enveloping the three people in the spear light. The three people erupted with all their strength and fought with Lu Ming. However, they were shocked to discover that they were not Lu Ming's match at all. They were completely suppressed and fell into a disadvantageous position. Lu Ming is going to win. After the Heavenly Realm's creatures were shocked, they were ecstatic. Lu Ming alone could suppress 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. What kind of battle prowess was this? Invincible powerhouse. A word flashed in everyone's hearts. Only an invincible powerhouse would have such battle prowess, suppressing 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. Lu Ming had actually already reached the step of invincible powerhouse. Bang! In the fierce battle, Marojia was struck by Lu Ming's long spear. His body almost exploded, retreating frantically, vomiting blood non-stop. Marojia, I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. Just as his voice fell, Lu Ming had already appeared in front of Marojia, the great desolate spear thrusting out. No! Marojia was alarmed, frantically erupting, laying down one attack after another and defending. However, under Lu Ming's attack, it was all futile, collapsing and exploding one after another. Lu Ming's current fleshly body battle prowess was equivalent to a peak Heavenly Emperor, and the Tao of Sovereign's battle prowess was also equivalent to a peak Heavenly Emperor. With the two combined, Lu Ming's strength far surpassed other peak Heavenly Emperors. In addition, Lu Ming had comprehended the battle character art. With the support of the battle character art, Lu Ming's battle prowess was even stronger. Suppressing a peak Heavenly Emperor was effortless. The great desolate spear was like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, crushing Marojia's attack and directly piercing through Marojia's dantian. Marojia's eyes widened as he looked at Lu Ming in incomparable shock. In his eyes there was thick fear. Go! Lu Ming said coldly. The long spear trembled, and a terrifying power erupted. Marojia's body was torn apart. A peak Heavenly Emperor had fallen. Not good, let's go. The other 2 peak Heavenly Emperors turned around and left, not daring to continue fighting. They directly tore open space, wanting to travel through space and escape. A peak Heavenly Emperor already had the ability to tear open space and directly travel from this realm to another realm. Stay. The great desolate spear in Lu Ming's hand violently pulled out. Space directly exploded, blocking the other party's path. Chapter 25-31. Lu Ming blocked the retreat of the 2 peak evil god race Heavenly Emperors. His spear soared through the air, charging towards the 2 evil god race Heavenly Emperors. Previously, the 3 peak Heavenly Emperors were not Lu Ming's match. Now that there were only 2 left, they were even less of a match. Although the 2 did their best to resist and counterattack, under the pressure of Lu Ming's spear, the 2 still retreated repeatedly, vomiting blood, their bodies cracking. Go, quickly go. Go and report to His Majesty. The other evil god race members did not dare to stay at all. Regardless of whether their cultivation was strong or weak, they all ran for their lives. In such a large military camp, not a single one was left behind. Bang! A peak evil god race Heavenly Emperor was swept in the shoulder by Lu Ming. Half of his body exploded, and his body flew out horizontally. Kill! An evil god race member was heavily injured. Lu Ming targeted the last evil god race member. His vital energy and blood surged. The power of a sovereign pervaded the air. Lu Ming was valiant and invincible. Coupled with the support of the battle character art, any casual move was filled with terrifying combat power. Pooh! That peak evil god race Heavenly Emperor was unable to resist. The spear pierced through his head, and he died on the spot. Following that, Lu Ming charged towards that injured evil god race member. Without the slightest suspense, that evil god race member was also killed by Lu Ming. Henceforth, the 3 peak Heavenly Emperors guarding the evil god race camp all died in Lu Ming's hands. Heavens! The life forms of the Heavenly Realm were all dumbstruck. One person killed 3 peak Heavenly Emperors. These were peak Heavenly Emperors. Each one stood at the peak of this world. Each one was a true big shot. But now, 3 of them died all at once. Personally seeing 3 peak Heavenly Emperors die in front of them, this kind of impact was extremely shocking. They did not react for a moment. Only when Lu Ming stepped forward and stepped into the evil god race camp and was about to disappear did they react. When they reacted, They were incomparably excited. Because the foreign race camp had been breached. Quickly go back and report the news. The foreign race camp has been breached. Quickly get the army to come over and fight to Hunyuan Heaven Realm. We can take back the Hunyuan Heaven Domain. Quick! All the Heaven Realm creatures were incomparably excited, as if they had gone crazy. How many years had it been? Ever since the ancient war, 8 of the 9 Heaven Domains had been occupied by outsiders, with the exception of the Grand Pure Heaven Domain. Now that there was finally a chance to take back Hunyuan Heaven, they were naturally excited. Whoosh! Whoosh! One figure after another flew toward Two World City. Two World City was the same as Monarch City. It was heavily guarded and the formation was activated. Soon, those people returned to Two Realm City. Quick! Inform the heavenly sovereigns to mobilize the army and attack Hunyuan Heaven. We must take back Hunyuan Heaven. Hurry! Hurry up! The living beings of the Heaven Realm all cried out. Meanwhile, the people on the Two World City looked at them as if they were idiots. Are you crazy? Take back the Hunyuan Heaven Domain? There are countless experts stationed in the evil god race's camp. How can we snatch it? Did something happen to you guys? Those people in Two World City were rather speechless. No, the evil god race's camp has been breached. The other party lost 3 peak heavenly emperors, and the others all ran away. Now is a good opportunity. Someone shouted. Is it true? 3 peak heavenly emperors died. You guys are bragging. The people on the Two World City clearly did not believe it. Peak heavenly emperors were not cabbages. In the entire Heaven Realm, there were not many evil god realm experts added up. How could they die just like that? It's true, we have to report it to the heavenly sovereigns. At this moment, a burly old man came forward, looking rather dignified. Heavenly Emperor Lu Huang. On the Two World City, many people were shocked when they saw this old man. Heavenly Emperor Lu Huang was a veteran heavenly emperor. He had always guarded Two World City and had quite a bit of prestige. Could it be that what they said is true? Then they thought of this point, and their eyes revealed shock. Heavenly Emperor Lu Huang should not speak nonsense. Dong. Many people's hearts began to beat. If this was true, it would be a big deal. Quickly go and report to the heavenly sovereigns. Some people rushed towards Two World City. Not long after, at least more than a dozen figures arrived on the city walls of Two World City. These few people were all peerless powerhouses guarding Two World City. Each one was a 4-star heavenly emperor and above. There were even 2 peak heavenly emperors. Lu Huang, what the hell is going on? Is what you guys said true? A peak heavenly emperor asked. Your Excellency, it's absolutely true. From what we saw with our eyes, the evil god race's barracks were breached, and 3 peak heavenly emperors were killed. Now is the best time to attack Hunyuan Heavenly Domain. Heavenly Emperor Lu Huang said. Who the hell took action? Which invincible powerhouse? A peerless powerhouse asked. With their temperament, their hearts were wildly shaken. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. Immediately, someone cried out. What? Lu Ming? More than a dozen peerless powerhouses were greatly shocked in their hearts. It's Lu Ming alone? Someone asked. That's right, it's Lu Ming alone. He broke through the evil god race's grand formation alone and killed 3 peak heavenly emperors on the spot. Now, he has already killed his way to Hunyuan Heavenly Domain. Heavenly Emperor Lu Huang said. Hiss. The people present all sucked in a cold breath. Lu Ming alone broke through the alien race's grand formation and killed 3 peak heavenly emperors. What kind of shocking battle record was this? How astonishing was Lu Ming's battle strength? Previously, some people speculated that Lu Ming's strength had already reached peak heavenly emperor. But now, they knew that they had still underestimated Lu Ming. Sound the drums, gather the army, and follow me to Hunyuan Heavenly Domain. A peak powerhouse took a deep breath and gave the order. Dong. In Two World City, a loud rumble sounded. The war drums sounded, and countless powerhouses flew towards Two World City's city walls. What's going on? Could it be that the alien race is attacking? Is the decisive battle coming? Many people were puzzled. Let's go, follow me to the alien race's camp. A peak heavenly emperor took the lead and flew out of Two World City. Although many people were puzzled, military orders were like mountains. They did not ask much and flew out of two-world city one after another. Countless voices, a dark mass, blotted out the sky and covered the sun, charging towards the evil god tribe's camp. When they arrived at the evil god race's military camp and saw a stretch of dilapidated fences and dilapidated walls, as well as a huge spear scar that spanned several million li, everyone was deeply shocked. The evil god tribe's camp had been breached, and the evil god tribe was already empty. It's Lu Ming. Soon, the news of Lu Ming breaching the evil god tribe's camp spread throughout the army. Everyone was shocked. Kill them. Kill our way to Hunyuan Heavenly Domain and take back Hunyuan Heavenly Domain in one go. Kill, haha. Soon after, the morale of the Heavenly Realm's living beings increased greatly. They rushed past the evil god tribe's camp and charged towards Hunyuan Heavenly Domain. Wherever they passed, they saw the corpses of the evil god tribe. Chapter 25-32. The Heaven Realm army quickly passed through the passage and entered the Hunyuan Heaven Domain. After entering the Hunyuan Heaven Domain, they found that they basically did not encounter any attacks from the evil god tribe. Originally, the evil god tribe army was mostly concentrated in the middle camp. In the vast Hunyuan Heaven Domain, there were not many evil god tribe members. Previously, the evil god tribe had been defeated like a landslide, and most of them had retreated from the Hunyuan Heaven Domain. Ha ha ha, I've finally returned to the Hunyuan Heaven Domain. How many years has it been? Ha ha ha. Someone laughed maniacally. The person laughing was a heavenly emperor. He was from the Hunyuan Heaven Domain in the ancient era, but he had never returned to the Hunyuan Heaven Domain since it was occupied by the other races. Now that he had returned, he was naturally excited. Let's go. Lu Ming must have killed his way to the passage between the Hunyuan Heaven Domain and the Myriad Spirit Heaven Domain. Let's go help him. A peak Heavenly Emperor roared. Kill! The Heaven Realm creatures were in high morale as they charged towards the passage between the Hunyuan Heaven Domain and the Myriad Spirit Heaven Domain. At this moment, Lu Ming had indeed killed his way to the passage between the Hunyuan Heaven Domain and the Myriad Spirit Heaven Domain. There were indeed many evil god tribe members gathered in this passage, but when Lu Ming arrived, they were still defeated and retreated to the next heaven, the Nine Nether Heaven Domain. Through the passage, Lu Ming arrived at the Myriad Spirit Heaven Domain. Lu Ming felt a little emotional. Back then, he had accidentally come to the Myriad Spirit Heaven Domain and met Ren Chan and the others. He had also met the archaic body cultivators and obtained the cultivation method of the seven gods' mysterious art. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming did not immediately chase after the evil god tribe. Instead, he took a step forward and headed towards the number 1 forbidden area of the Myriad Spirit Heaven, the Land of Dusk. Back then, the archaic body cultivators lived in the depths of the Land of Dusk, and Ren Chan's little world was also at the edge of the Land of Dusk. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the Land of Dusk, Ren Chan's little world. The little world had completely collapsed and turned into nothingness. Needless to say, the remaining people of Ren Chan's little world were most likely dead. Afterward, Lu Ming came to the depths of the Land of Dusk. This hell had also been destroyed. It was dilapidated and empty. This made the viciousness in Lu Ming's eyes grow even stronger. The evil god tribe had better send some stronger experts. Lu Ming muttered. A peak Heavenly Emperor level opponent to him was not the slightest bit challenging, and could not serve as a form of training. As his voice fell, Lu Ming's figure had already disappeared. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived at the passageway between the 10,000 Spirit Heaven Domain and the 9 Nether Heaven Domain. In this place, there weren't many obstructions. There was almost no one from the evil god race. Clearly, the evil god race had already retreated. Lu Ming directly entered the 9 Remoteness Heavenly Domain and headed towards the passageway. The 9 Serenities Heavenly Realm was connected to the Beast God Heavenly Realm. In this passageway, Lu Ming finally saw the densely packed evil god race. Countless members of the evil god race were inscribing great formations here, establishing a defensive system. The entire tunnel was enveloped by a layer of pitch-black light. Wang. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He directly shook the Great Desolate Spear and thrust it down. The Great Desolate Spear rapidly expanded, reaching a length of 1,000,000 miles, and lashed towards the evil god race's great formation. But this time, before the Great Desolate Spear could be drawn, an axe light slashed out from the evil god race army. This axe light was also incomparably terrifying. It split the entire sky into 2 halves. In the eyes of ordinary people, this was completely splitting the heavens and splitting the earth. Boom! The great desolate spear and the axe light collided heavily. The void within a radius of millions of miles completely exploded, turning into nothingness. Following that, a terrifying aura erupted from the evil god race army. A figure stepped out into the air, arriving high in the sky. This figure had a head of purple hair, not much different from a human. His 3 eyes opened and closed, revealing a cold luster. On his head, there was even a crown. A foreign race king? The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up into a cold smile. It seemed that the evil god race finally had a demigod-level existence arrive. According to what he knew, the kings of the foreign race's 10 great royal races were all existences that surpassed peak heavenly emperors. They were all invincible figures at the demigod level. The foreign race king's aura was terrifying. It could split the heavens and cover the earth, suppressing the universe. It was a level stronger than peak heavenly emperors. Clearly, the foreign races had already sent the news back, so a foreign race king came directly. Lu Ming, you killed 3 peak heavenly emperors of my race. Today you must die. The foreign race king spoke coldly, his killing intent incomparably dense. Cut the crap. If you want to kill me, let's see if you have the ability or not. Lu Ming sneered. The great desolate spear vibrated with a buzzing sound. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a powerful fighting spirit. A demigod. This was his first time facing a demigod. Just how strong was a demigod? Lu Ming was looking forward to it. Kill! The foreign race king held a pitch-black battle axe. He took a step forward and directly appeared not far from Lu Ming, chopping down with his axe. The foreign race king's attack method was very simple. There wasn't too much fanciness. But when the axe fell, the attack power was incomparably terrifying. It could break through everything. It could really break through everything. It was as if there was nothing in this world that could stop it. Even the heavenly Tao was about to be torn apart. Come on! The fighting spirit in Lu Ming's eyes grew even stronger. The blood in his body surged, and the power of the world completely erupted. Lu Ming's strength erupted to the limit. He brandished his spear and struck out. Clang! The two collided again. The sky exploded, erupting with a terrifying rumble. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. Swish! The two figures retreated 10,000 miles in unison, standing in the void, facing each other from afar. This time, they were evenly matched. Is this the divine power condensed after 10,000 yuan returned to 1? Lu Ming murmured. He was looking forward to it. He had heard from the ancestral dragon that the half-martial gods had achieved 10,000 yuan returned to 1, merging everything into one and condensing a godly flame in their body. This godly flame was made up of divine power. However, in the heaven realm and the evil god realm, reaching this step was already the limit. Only by leaving this place and going to the outside world could one truly become a martial god. There was a huge difference between half-martial gods and martial gods. A half-martial god could only condense a godly flame, and the divine power it contained was extremely limited. As for martial gods, their bodies were filled with divine power. The difference was many times greater. However, the power of the divine power surpassed the heavenly Tao. It was too shocking. Even the divine power contained in a single godly flame was enough to make one unrivaled. If a martial god did not show up, no one would be able to compete with him. At this moment, the evil god tribe was dumbfounded. Lu Ming was actually able to fight against one of their kings. Lu Ming's strength was too terrifying. Let's see how many moves you can take from me. Kill! The outsider tribe monarch charged at Lu Ming with a battle axe in hand. His body and the battle axe were covered in a thin layer of divine power. They were extremely powerful. Fight! Lu Ming charged over with his spear. Chapter 25-33. Lu Ming and the strange tribe king engaged in an intense battle. One moment they fought in the sky, and the next moment they fought in the depths of the void. At their level, when they fought with their full strength, they could really destroy the heavens and earth. If they fought on the ground, they could destroy an entire heaven. For a small continent like the Divine Wilderness continent, they could probably turn it into ashes with just one move. Soon, the two had exchanged hundreds of moves. Strange tribe king, is this all you've got? How disappointing! Lu Ming said indifferently. His battle intent grew stronger and stronger, and he began to suppress the strange tribe king. How is this possible? The strange tribe king was extremely shocked. He could clearly feel that Lu Ming had not reached the demigod realm because he did not have divine power. His cultivation level was lower than his, but his battle strength was stronger than his. It was too terrifying to be able to suppress him. The strange tribe king roared and pushed the divine power in his body to the limit. Unfortunately, he was still no match for Lu Ming. Lu Ming seemed to be able to unleash shocking power with a casual strike of his spear. He was forced to retreat. The battle character art is indeed powerful, Lu Ming muttered. At this moment, he had pushed the battle character art to the limit. He was getting stronger and stronger, and he had completely gained the upper hand. How is this possible? How is this possible? Countless strange tribe members muttered to themselves, unable to accept this. In their hearts, the strange tribe king was an invincible existence, a symbol of invincibility. But now, he was about to lose, and at the hands of a young man from the heaven realm. Bam! After a few more moves, the strange tribe king was swept by Lu Ming's spear. His body was sent flying, and a bloody wound appeared on his body. It seems like you won't be able to kill me today, Lu Ming said disdainfully and continued to attack his opponent. The strange tribe king roared and fought Lu Ming with all his might. Unfortunately, after more than 10 moves, he was sent flying by Lu Ming and vomited blood. Once he was at a disadvantage and was injured by Lu Ming. His battle strength weakened and he was no match for Lu Ming. How could this be? Countless members of the evil god tribe paled. What to do? Even a king realm expert was no match for Lu Ming. Should they retreat? Otherwise, when the outsider king was defeated, they would be the ones to die. At this moment, the space cracked open, and another figure appeared. This figure was also wearing a crown, and his aura was shocking. Another outsider king had arrived. Kill! The king of a foreign tribe descended and charged toward Lu Ming. Good timing. The battle intent in Lu Ming's eyes grew even stronger as he fought against this outsider king. At the same time, the outsider king from before also charged back. The two outsider kings fought Lu Ming. The two kings of the mutated tribes working together was too terrifying. In this world, apart from martial gods, who could defeat them? Legend had it that the peerless primal Chaos Emperor, the imperishable primal Chaos Emperor, had been besieged by two outsider kings at the same time and finally died. Besieged by two non-humankind kings, Lu Ming instantly fell into a disadvantageous position. At this moment, Lu Ming only had the strength to fight back. Yes, that's it. Not only was Lu Ming not afraid, he was even more surprised. Besieged by two outsider kings, Lu Ming felt a great pressure. Under this pressure, his comprehension of the battle character art improved rapidly. Slowly comprehending it was not as fast as when faced with danger. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming swung his spear and unleashed his strength to the maximum. His body was covered in the purple golden ruler force as he continuously executed the battle character art to fight against the two outsider kings. Although the two outsider kings had the upper hand, Lu Ming was as steady as a rock. His great desolation spear was impenetrable. It would take them a while to break through Lu Ming's defense. How is this possible? This kid is even more troublesome than the primal Chaos Emperor and the imperishable primal Chaos Emperor. One of the outsider kings thought in shock. In the blink of an eye, after 100 moves, Lu Ming was still steadily blocking their attacks. At this moment, in the direction of the 9 Nether Heaven domain, the Heaven Realm army had finally arrived. However, they stopped when they were still a long distance away. Because the battle between Lu Ming and the two outsider kings was too terrifying. That void was filled with destructive storms, and they did not dare to approach. Heavens, is that an outsider king? Yes, two outsider kings. Lu Ming is fighting two outsider kings. Some experts from the Heaven Realm were watching from afar. When they saw the people in the battle, they were dumbfounded. The Heaven Realm army was in an uproar. Lu Ming was actually engaged in a great battle with two kings of foreign tribes. During this period of time, they had repeatedly refreshed their understanding of Lu Ming. In the beginning, many people speculated that Lu Ming was a peak heavenly emperor, but now they realized that it was far from it. Not only did Lu Ming have the strength of an invincible powerhouse, he could also fight against two outsider kings. To fight two outsider kings by himself, how many people in this world could do it? Not good. Lu Ming is at a disadvantage. If this continues, will he be defeated? It's hard to say, but we have already reported to the invincible powerhouses of our heaven realm. Our heaven realm will also have invincible powerhouses arriving soon. Some people from the heaven realm were discussing in low voices. Right at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A part of the void suddenly split open, and a terrifying sword light violently slashed towards Lu Ming. The power of this sword light was shockingly strong. Without a doubt, another demigod-level existence had made his move. Lu Ming was startled, and quickly danced with the great desolate spear, covering his entire body with defenses. But facing this sudden attack, as well as the attacks of the other two outsider kings, Lu Ming was still pushing it too hard. Clang! This sword strike struck Lu Ming's long spear, and Lu Ming was directly sent flying, spitting out a few mouthfuls of blood. Not good. The expressions of the heaven realm powerhouses changed. Rip! That part of the void split open, and a figure walked out. Without a doubt, it was another outsider king. The three outsider kings descended, surrounding Lu Ming in the middle. This person must be eliminated, the earliest outsider king said. He was too shocked, and even a little frightened. If Lu Ming was allowed to continue growing, he did not know how far he would go. Join forces, another outsider king said. Ha ha ha, the three outsider kings actually want to join forces to deal with a junior from the heaven realm. Are you not afraid of being ridiculed by the world? A cold laugh sounded, and a figure suddenly appeared in front of the heaven realm army. This person was surrounded by endless lightning, as if he was the incarnation of lightning. Heavenly Thunder Sovereign. Heavenly Thunder Sovereign is here. The heaven realm beings were overjoyed. Heavenly Thunder. The three outsider kings' eyes narrowed. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Chapter 25-34. Boom, boom. Suddenly, in a dark void, a violent explosion came, and then space exploded. Two figures rushed out from inside, exchanged a few moves, and retreated. Another two invincible figures. One was also a foreign race king, and the other was a burly figure wearing battle armor. It's the Sky Tiger Emperor. Someone recognized the burly figure wearing battle armor. The Sky Tiger Emperor, the king of the Sky Tiger clan, was also the strongest existence in the Sky Tiger clan, with a demigod cultivation base. The Heavenly Thunder Emperor and the Foreign Race King exchanged more than 10 moves, and it was hard to determine the victor, so they also retreated. For a time, on the Heaven Realm side, Lu Ming, the Heavenly Thunder Emperor, and the Sky Tiger Emperor faced off against the 4 Foreign Race Kings. In the sky, a terrifying pressure filled the air. Damn it! The king of a foreign tribe who was the first to exchange blows with Lu Ming growled, feeling somewhat indignant. They knew that the invincible powerhouses of the heaven realm had already begun to move. Even if they could call over more foreign race kings, the invincible powerhouses of the heaven realm would still rush over. This time they could not kill Lu Ming. For a time, the foreign race kings did not make a move. The Heavenly Thunder Emperor and the rest also did not make a move. Both sides were wary and did not have absolute confidence in defeating the other party. Engrave the grand array and guard this place. Let's see who can rush over. In the end, the 4 foreign race kings retreated and returned to the foreign race army. They personally took charge of this place and gave the order to strengthen the grand array. Lu Ming and the rest did not chase. Retreat 1,000,000 miles, build an army camp, and surround this place. The Heavenly Thunder Emperor also instructed the Heaven Realm Army. Yes, the Heaven Realm Army received the order, then retreated 1,000,000 miles and began to build an army camp to surround this place. Both sides faced off again here. Lu Ming did not return. He retreated to a mountain peak not far from the Heaven Realm Army, sat down cross-legged, and began to comprehend, digesting the gains from the battle just now. The news of this battle also spread in the Supreme Pure Sky domain at an astonishing speed. This time, the Supreme Pure Sky domain seemed to have experienced a magnitude 12 earthquake, and it suddenly exploded. Lu Ming destroyed the foreign army camp outside Two Realm City and killed 3 peak heavenly emperors of the foreign races. Lu Ming slaughtered his way into the Hunyuan Heaven, the Wanling Heaven, and the Abyssal Heaven, breaking through 3 heavens in a row. Lu Ming had engaged in a fierce battle with an outsider king at the entrance of the Beast God Realm and the 9 Serenities Heaven Realm. Lu Ming did not lose in the battle with the 2 kings of the foreign tribes. News after news set off gusts of wind in the Grand Pure Sky domain, and countless people were dumbfounded. When many people heard this news, Their first reaction was disbelief. However, when they sent people to Two Realm City to investigate and confirm the news, they were stunned. All of this was real. Countless people from the Tai Ching heaven had already poured into the Hunyuan heaven, Myriad Spirit heaven and Nine Nether heaven. Oh my god! Many people sighed. This was too crazy. Everyone knew that they had underestimated Lu Ming. Lu Ming was now almost invincible in the world. Lu Ming, Lu Ming, Lu Ming. In every corner of the Grand Pure Sky domain, every force was talking about this name. Lu Ming's reputation had reached the peak. After that, all forces began to send people to the Hunyuan heaven, Wanling heaven, and Abysmal heaven. These three heavens had been occupied by the foreign races for countless years. After all, the cultivation of the foreign races was different from that of the heavens, and the treasures they needed were sometimes very different. There might be some treasures in the three heavens that the foreign races had no use for, but they were very useful to the heavens. Therefore, there must be many precious treasures in the three heavens waiting for people to exploit. Countless people poured into the three heavens and began to harvest and excavate the treasures. At the entrance of the Nine Serenities heaven and the Beast God realm, the two armies were facing each other. Lu Ming went into secluded cultivation. A few months later, Lu Ming came out of secluded cultivation. In the previous battle, Lu Ming had gained something, and his understanding of the battle character art had deepened. However, he still hadn't broken through the bottleneck. It was as if there was a barrier blocking him that he couldn't break through. Lu Ming had a feeling that as long as the battle character art broke through the bottleneck, its power would definitely increase greatly, and his battle prowess would reach a whole new level. It's not enough. I need to continue the battle, Lu Ming muttered. Then, he took a step forward and walked towards the foreign race army. Lu Ming's movement attracted the attention of countless people. Where is Lu Ming going? Is he going to fight the evil god race again? Many people guessed and watched from afar, especially those who had arrived later. They hadn't seen Lu Ming fight before, and they couldn't help but look forward to it. Lu Ming is here to challenge. Evil god race, who wants to come out and fight? Lu Ming held his spear and stood in front of the foreign race army. Lu Ming's voice spread throughout the foreign race army. For a time, the foreign race army fell silent. There's actually no one from the huge evil god race who dares to fight? How disappointing, Lu Ming said again. Damn it! Many members of the evil god race gritted their teeth, but no one came out to fight. Lu Ming's battle prowess was too terrifying. Apart from unparalleled experts, anyone else who came out would be courting death. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying auras burst out from the non-human army as a few non-human kings stepped out with cold looks in their eyes. You finally dare to come out. Who wants to fight with me? Lu Ming glanced at the foreign race kings. So arrogant. I'll go and fight him. A foreign race king roared. Be careful. Lu Ming is really strong. The king of a foreign tribe who was the first to fight with Lu Ming instructed. I'll be careful. That foreign race king nodded and stepped out, appearing not far away from Lu Ming. Since Lu Ming had come to challenge them, they had no choice but to accept. Just you? No, let's have another one, Lu Ming said indifferently, his face full of displeasure. He was really pissed. An outsider king did not pose much of a threat to him. Arrogant. Kill. Being looked down on by Lu Ming, that foreign race king was enraged and charged toward Lu Ming. The heavenly Dao weapon this foreign race king used was a long spear. The long spear pierced through the air and stabbed toward Lu Ming. Bas! Lu Ming shook the great desolate spear and charged toward the other party. Clang, 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 swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The two of them clashed non-stop, erupting into earth-shattering explosions. Spear light and spear shadows crisscrossed, connecting heaven and earth. It was terrifying to the extreme. Terrifying, so terrifying. This kind of power is simply not something we can resist. Is this the battle prowess of an unparalleled expert? This was the first time many of the Heaven Realm's living beings had seen unparalleled experts fight. They were shocked. Lu Ming and the foreign race king exchanged dozens of blows. At this time, the foreign race king was at a disadvantage. This time, Lu Ming did not hold back. He used his full strength. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.